going downstairs, checking out some food. And when I came back up, I was on my computer. And I had to go with my family out to view some, things in the outside land. And out there, I found episode 11 of FNTASIA. God damn, it looks good. Wow.
You did need to search for this one. You did really need to search for this one because we were slacking yesterday. No, it's not like you were searching. We were searching in the deserts. We were deep because we were supposed to be live yesterday. So much crap went down. And now we did find it. We found episode 11.
Yeah, scheduling is
episode 11.
Classes. Oh, episode 11. Wow. What's up, boys? How you doing? What is up? What's the week look like? Big Man Levin on the broadcast, Sokata, Adam Savage type beat. What's going on?
You know, this should have been the episode I hosted, right? In theory, right? You know, episode 11, it should have been the one.
But we revoke your hosting duties forever.
Yeah. What do you mean forever?
Forever.
Give me a second, man. Shoot. I'm gonna come back one of these weeks.
You're fired.
Fired. Fucking. I'll pack my bags and leave if you want. Sure. Yeah, it was good to cast again. I haven't casted an event on broadcast for a while, so felt good to cast again. Obviously, to cast the past 3 or 4 not for 4 actually. The past couple of Dreamhack events I've done with Takata, so it was good to do that. And I'm pretty sure all of his recent events have been in Spanish because he did FNCS in Spanish. So I think this was his first English cast in a while, but it was cool. Had some fun and was looking forward to more fun. But I guess we'll get into that later.
Sorry, Levin. That was okay. Whatever. Whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
it's snowing outside.
Is it actually? Don't mind the duct tape real quick.
What?
No, for me, bro.
All right, we're chilling. Yeah, no, I was at the check too.
You know how I was like, oh, you're in Canada. I'm like, oh, you probably getting the snow or whatever. And it's you're always like, nah, I'm chilling, bro. It's dry. We got an inch outside right now. It's wild.
Really? What's the day? It's April 16th. That's wild.
Yeah,
that's too wild.
It's messed up.
What else is wild though, man? Cast a little bit of VCT, rolling the business, watching some Fortnite. What's up, bro?
Yeah, I mean, VCT was good last weekend. A lot of fun. I casted a seeding match. It was great. A lot of really, really cool things happened. But yeah, other than that, I'm chilling.
Nice. You know what's not great, guys? That all you guys who are watching on YouTube and will be watching after you watch this entire podcast on Twitch and then go back and once again watch it 3 times on YouTube, what you have to do, are not subscribed. As per every content creator has, a subscriber thing pops up with the not subscribed 90% and the subscribed 10%. Sub to the podcast, sub to the channel, man.
That pop up is not happening. I'm not doing it.
We can pretend. There you go. Bala can full posture up and be the not subscribed meter, and then Levin can go down in his camera and be like the 10%. And they're not gonna do it anyways. But sub to the channel if you're listening. If you guys haven't subscribed on YouTube, you can find the link. It's in the Twitter bio. And we can copy paste it in the chat. But people watching on YouTube don't even
not doing that.
Okay, no one's doing. Okay, we're chilling. Now let's deep dive into what's up in the past week. First off, which is patch changes, which would have dropped, I believe, while we were live on the episode, correct?
Yes, they would have.
Live yesterday. They would have been. But hey, we juked the Fortnite god, so to speak. That's one of the things that happened.
Somehow.
One we didn't get to talk about happened earlier. Was the recycler changes? Very hot item. I've used it many times on the Battle Royale island. It got kind of buffed, and the Promo shotgun weapon in specific got nerfed in terms of pull-out speed and damage.
So we don't have the links because we don't have a producer again.
Oh, true.
We have them in our outline. So let me look at this. I didn't even realize we were going to talk about this one today. Because isn't this I didn't even see this actually. I didn't even see the fact that they nerfed the shotgun again.
Right after we ended our podcast, this happened at night.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, they nerfed the primal, and I was actually playing with the primal to test it out with some of my IRL friends. It felt kind of the same in terms of its use. I didn't see too much of a change. I'm not sure about you guys. I still saw it used in the FaZe Elite Cup. We'll talk about that later as well. But yeah, in general, it just seemed like the same change.
Yeah, I think when the patch first dropped, people felt like that. People were like, "Well, it's not changed much at all." Still, what's actually funny? Finest realistic 1v1s, where you can matchmake queue. He actually just added it so you can play with Primal now in creative, which you couldn't do until now. And I played a couple of them, and like it was just like, wow, we 1v1 with this. It still just feels like the guy who actually I queued in with, he leaves after like the 4th round, and he's like, oh my god, this gun's silly, and then he just leaves. And I was like, oh, yeah, fair enough. But I think it is weaker.
I never do you guys choose to play with the fireball.
No, like it's remember like when you got put in that vault with the charge, when you got put in the vault, there's all the guns there, and you just have to hope there's a like charge there. Like yeah, you can just pick it up and go with it.
So you're just griefing kids.
He selected it. You know, he selected it, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but I'll try it because my first time. The next one I went into, the guy that I went into again, he selected it. So I like just was like, nah, I'm leaving this. I didn't even bother playing it.
That is proof of why they want the gun in the game, by the way. It's because people want to be able to just be like, yep, I'm better than you. This is now checkers. Like, no, actually, this ain't even a board game. You know, little 72 hours classic.
Like darts, man. Yeah, it gets wild. But they jumped in even more after the fact, and adjusted a lot of other things that people were generally asking for. It's a dope change. The actual juice, the big patch notes. Yeah. That Fortnite status dropped earlier yesterday. We can start talking about it. They try to touch crafting parts again, doubling the stuff that you get in floor loot stacks. So is that one of the issues in terms of crafting, is just not having enough parts all around the map? The one thing I've heard the most is that the northwest side of the map is completely barren this season and so hard to play around because you can't really upgrade to mechanical at all, and that's like a very big portion of like playing the game.
Don't they have like the god chest though, at least? So it's like, but in terms of parts and stuff, yeah, for sure. Dude, parts are important. I actually like, I don't know, I guess the places that I've played out of so far have had a lot of cars, that have had a lot of parts, so I've never really felt that like scavenger type beat. And from what I can tell, Sweaty's still pretty good, and other than that, yeah, that northwest side kind of sucks. They need to do something. Well, maybe they don't, because there's always spots on the map that are just complete ass, right? So maybe if you're playing from there, you're playing from complete ass, and that's just the style that you like to play.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I think, yeah, like I think they tried to like throw in some god chests in some of the north places. Like I know if you go stealthy, you can try fight for the ones just below stealthy, but sometimes Pleasant gets that. Yeah, parts are such a big deal where it's like if you look at the strongest POIs right now, or the strongest like places to land, assuming everything's uncontested, like typically it's the ones where you can get the most parts, right? Like Dirty, you know, Sweaty, Cami Split, like places like that are where people are like, these are the strongest POIs, just because everyone wants to use the mechanical weapons. So
yeah, I was just thinking that I don't think it's the amount that's the issue. It's like the timing at which they're dropped around the map, or like you have the chance to up your crafting game around the map. Going back to the idea of, you know, it's dope to play the game and have an incentive for pushing people. Like you usually want to craft and upgrade your loadout after a fight, or after like an event starts to happen around you, in a sense, right? Like having all of it off spawn is one thing, then pushing for, you know, crafting afterwards through elims is another. And I feel like having the upgrade there in terms of having, you know, parts available would be cool, because then no matter where you end up dropping around the map, right, like you would have a chance at having parts if you just push people. Yeah. And that's a lot easier to find.
But in general, the change is good, right? Like helps those spots that are complete shambles in terms of any cars or something like that. So yeah, I think it's good. I don't actually know how it feels, because I only played really in this new version, I guess. No, wait, this was yesterday, right? So I played in the whack one.
You played in the old version, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember finding parts too much. But I mean, it's gonna be fine. It's good just in general, because especially with the upgrade changes, the way that they made that, was that last podcast? I don't even know anymore. I'm getting lost. But the way that it's expensive now to upgrade from blue makeshift to epic. So it's like,
but like we felt the disparity though, and how honestly the upgrade like amount changes don't matter that much, because there's some drops on the map that are absurd. Like we were playing the Cyber League of Twitch Rivals, practicing for or whatever, dropping Dirty. It's like living in high class society, man. The amount of mech scraps you have, and then we went to Colossal Crops, bro, and we were farmers. We were actual farmers.
That spot is good though. Like actually, like in terms of how like the people who are dropping there, that spot is good. Actually, yeah, but like, I guess we just sucked at the thing, so you can't use that as an example.
True. I just felt like just on a default rate though, like, you know, I felt financially secure at Dirty Docks. Yeah. But at Colossal Crops, it was like I'm searching for my next job. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like it was tough cities. But past that, in terms of early game as well, makeshift AR and revolver accuracy in general. Yes. So, you know, that's a big buff. I'm guessing for revolver it'll be FSA reset. And makeshift AR, the bloom probably gets a little bit.
I don't think it's FSA for either of them.
It's okay, true.
I think it's just accurate. Like bloom is better.
Yeah.
That's what I have my image of this being, and I think it's good. I think that the makeshift, especially the lower rarities, were just so bad when you shot them. Like you are not hitting anything. You're like pinpoint accuracy. That thing is not going anywhere close to where your crosshair is. So 100% needed, 100% necessary the entire way. I'm surprised that the primal wasn't included in this. Maybe it was, and it's just like they forgot to add primal. But I would like to see testing there because the primal was, while it was still like better, it still sucked in a lot of instances.
You think?
Yeah,
I think the primal arrow is in a very good spot.
I thought that the rate of fire made it good, but the accuracy itself, like from range, when you're trying to get FSA tags or anything like that, where you would with the regular AR, it just was not the same.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's weird though, because like my personal experience playing with the primal, like genuinely, like my personal experience playing with it is silly when I play with it. Like I'll literally like 200 to 0 people with it, just like a laser beam. But then like I see certain people like, no, it's not that good. So it's like, I don't know. I think it is probably in a good place still. But I think it's good that they are. I think they're still trying to like they want the makeshift to be like viable, but they still want you to know you need to craft into something better. And I think they're just trying to get to that point where it feels perfect. So.
I will say that this helps early game fights way more than, because early game fights felt like trash all around. And I think that this along with one of the later changes where they like make it so that like all the different variations of the weapons are equally dropping, I think this helps early game fights not feel as frustrating. And even coming off spawn, you don't feel as scuffed all the time. I think the loot pool now has finally gone to a good place with these balance changes, which again, wondering why the community was freaking out so much about these changes earlier in the season, because we kind of felt that they have been doing that. This is what, the third season in a row where they have changed the season to be in a good state for FNCS.
I think the frustration is just around that, like, yo. Not that it's obvious, but like here's day one, and it's like, yeah, like we've already done this. We're kind of going 2 steps back, and like let's make the change. But like it's taken 3 weeks, so people just want to get in there and make it fair. But on that topic, if there was like a line on either side, right? Like here's the community side of where the patches should be, and here's Epic Games' take of where they want to take the game. This is where they start surfing on this next change towards kind of the Epic Games side of going back to an old change we know isn't that good for the game. Bow headshot damage and arrow speed, I believe, increased. So now the mechanical bow can one-tap kids in the head. Once again, if you're playing solos, you have a chance for your game to get deleted. If you're playing trios, it's not as bad. And duos, one of your partners can just completely go down. Levin, bro, I see you smirking. I see you smirking in the shadows. What's up, man?
I find it funny that they like released this change and like Thomas HD already came out with like a clip on Twitter of him just like he just goes snipers back and just like mad clips. So yeah, I think like I wish we had Robbie here because like Reese made a tweet and I think he summed it up sort of perfectly where it's just like, you know, if anything, when you actually look at it, this is better than snipers were last season at least to some degree. So it's like, hopefully we can see an adjustment there. Because
I know why, but I want to hear like the actual take here. Why is it better than snipers?
Well, the instant thing for me is that you like the fire rate, like the time it actually takes for you to like headshot someone, to be able to one-shot headshot someone and like completely get rid of their game is quicker. Oh, sorry, did I? Sorry, I hit my mic. I hit my mic, but I didn't realize it was gonna do that. Sorry. 2, for me as well, like the one thing that like I think is really underrated about this is the fact that there's still flame bow, there's still stink bow, there's still like all these other bows, which I was having a conversation with someone, they were like explaining to me that there's one bow in particular that people aren't really using right now that like when you really think about it, it's like really silly how it can like it's kind of OP, but people aren't really abusing it yet. That aspect of it, on top of the fact that now we have basically something that's like quicker than a sniper, I think it's easier to use. You can hip fire with it, right? It's easier to use. Yeah, like in one of Thomas HD clips, he's literally like mid-air, like bowing somebody, right?
That's the biggest thing for me.
like he's mid-air bowing someone, like aiming at them, and like it's like it's stronger than a sniper.
Yeah, dude's
right
like now
now,
Thomas
so.
4K 1080p, bro. It's getting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, when we say it's better than the sniper, it's probably exaggerated in some instances, because like, dude, I think the reason why is specifically because of the speed buff, not necessarily even because of the damage buff. Just the speed buff and how this projectile shoots. It's crazy how easy now it is to shoot. Before this change, you could see Thomas HG like not necessarily hitting every single shot. This change, it's literally he's just aiming at the guy. There's no projectile like calculations. None of this. There's no calculus.
It's like an old boom bow.
Exactly. Well, with the boom bow, you had those projectiles. It was slow, but because it exploded in a massive radius, it didn't really matter where you shot it. This time you do have to hit people, but it's so fast that you're hitting people no matter, like, if you just have good aim, you're hitting people. You don't have to be good at sniping, right? That's the difference. Although I think the people who are good at sniping are going to have a better advantage. That's where I think it becomes better than a sniper, like you were saying, Levin. But if it was the old speed, I think it would have been. I think the change still would have been bad because you don't want to be one shot. But
yeah.
The jumping thing really also tilts the scales. It's so you're not even peeking. You don't have to set up a shot. Like you literally peek out of from. They can't predict that. They can't predict that. It's not opening a window. You just jump over top of your wall and take a shot. It's crazy.
Even on rotation, like I think before, one of the things was if you're looking at a team and one person slows down, right, regardless of your render distance, you're like, okay, I'm gonna build a wall. Like something's up here. You know what I mean? I can feel it. Something's wrong. But now it's just like you got bunnies hopping like 24/7 just in the air with a bow out, and like it's hard to tell. People's got weird skins, weird pickaxes. You don't know what's going on.
You can't even tell where it's coming from. Like
seriously, yeah, it's like oh man. It's tough. This next change though, that's rolling. This really changes.
I think one more thing, like this change to me. Remember, okay, this is like remember the infantry as it started, the projectile infantry.
Ah, yes.
And everybody's like, this thing is ass. But in reality, like once people really started to use it, it was like, oh, this is okay. Like this is probably gonna be
still ass. No,
but it was still ass. But then they changed the projectile speed. They changed the hit scan. No. There was one change before they changed the projectile speed, and then they made it hit scan afterwards. They didn't even give enough time for people to really mess with the projectile speed. That's the speed at what it's at right now, where Tfue was starting to just hit these ridiculous hunting rifle-esque clips from back in the day when that infantry rifle was still projectile, but like still super fast, where there's basically no dip at all in the bullets. That's where I feel like the bow is right now, and it can one-shot people. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Just for like a relative reference, if people remember that.
So Balla basically leaking that the bow's getting hit scan.
I was gonna say, so you imagine hit scan bow.
That would be tough. Actually tough. That's very true. I just wonder what happens next if they end up changing it or nothing at all.
Why do they want this one-shot potential so much? I have my ideas, but like. To me, this is clear. This is telling us that we're always going to have something that's one shot in the game, especially if this stays, right? Especially if they don't change it, which is not necessarily 100% guaranteed. But
my thoughts on it is the fact that Levin mentioned that there's so many other bows in the game that you're usually going to be upgrading to, in terms of like having stinks available to you, about 90 of them, having a flame bow that just basically wins you end game if you have a good position because everyone's on wood builds. Having an explosive bow that just like if you hit a shot, you can hit all three people and be just good on surge. What is the reason for, even if the damage is buffed, to upgrade to a mechanical bow? There doesn't seem to be a very viable one. Like even if you're just looking for damage, a stink can do that for you just with a few more arrows in general. Having that one shot gives you incentive. Is there anything else that could really give you an incentive to not stick with primal?
I think that's is it primal and mechanical have the one shot potential?
No, it's mechanical is the only one that gets the one shot potential.
Okay, Primal so it's mechanical, boom bow, and boom bow doesn't one shot. Stink bow, I think, maybe does.
Primal is the one that can only upgrade to stink.
Okay, and that
stuff,
keeps those stats.
So Primal's like the I don't know how to do this with the archers. Primal's like the Hawkeye variation, and then you got Legolas on the mechanical that just actually one tap skids.
Okay,
so you choose.
So it's actually a choice now. Oh, I don't mind that. Yeah, well, I do mind it, but I think that's actually not a terrible reason. But I don't. Go ahead, Levin.
The only issue that I think arises with that is that I think the top players, like people like a Thomas, were already choosing mechanical over others in certain instances, and so now like there's really no reason for them to choose anything else, and they are buffed essentially. So
well, it's just like when you're playing any game and you main like, you know, maybe a very low level or mid tier like character, champion, agent, whatever, and it gets buffed, right? Obviously you get like your hometown gets stronger, you're sticking with your choice. It just helps like people who are in the middle of the curve, like who have a mechanical in their inventory, to maybe keep it. Because I know people who picked up like, you know, a non-primal bow and just toss it aside, or would never even think about going mechanical. It's just wanted stinks. But this change just makes stinks be less prevalent on the map 24/7. It makes flame bows less prevalent, but it adds the one-shot potential as well. It kind of takes a little bit from here and puts it over there. You know what I mean? So I feel that's a good change.
I don't think that's the reason. I think that's fine. I think maybe we can rationalize it that way, and like it maybe feels a little bit more palatable for us as competitive players. Still not, because of the one-shot potential overall, but I just think that they want the one-shot potential for people to get excited about hitting a one-tap in solos or in other modes too, just like across the board in arena for I guess this is casual playlists too. I think missing that feeling is actually like something that got people playing the game genuinely.
True. I feel like on that note, like if you hit a 170, it gives you that kind of feeling regardless.
Nah, it's not the same. No, it's not
the same. True.
Not the same. If we're talking from a casual perspective, then nah, it's definitely the same. Like I can see that from a casual perspective.
But which casual players are hitting headshot bow snipers on the move? Like
you can. That's the thing, right? You just shoot a random shot and you can, like constantly. I mean, you think about any game in the world and you're like, how is this guy just hit that shot? Like it makes no sense. That happens. I think that's the reason why they want it to stick. I wish that there was a way to split it, you know, so we could not have this one-shot stuff in comp. But yeah, I think there's a few players I've seen who have been like, I actually like it, but I don't really remember. There was somebody arguing for snipers. Still, I was like,
Rojo.
Really? Is it? Okay.
I think it was Rojo. And then instantly somebody replied with a tweet from him like a month ago, like snipers are the worst thing ever, get them out the game. So it was classic if you ask me. It was great.
Young tough. Recycler junk bomb speed. Best weapon in introduction of Fortnite just got buffed, guys. It's kind of crazy.
Dang, that's crazy. What is the recycler? I don't even know. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Moving on. Primal pistol damage and fire rate. This is an item that everyone's asking to get removed completely, but they're sticking with it.
We have to have at least one useless item off spawn, or one like half, like
dinky ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, I could use this, I guess, to get it off spawn kill, but it's not like catching a bow off a spawn, which is completely useless. You're like, oh, I could use this, but no, not really.
Yeah. I still feel like, dude, like there's no point in having this type of a pistol in the game if SMGs are also like a weapon. Like it just feels like SMG Junior, bro. It's like you get forced. If you guys ever like, you know, have done like picks and bans or whatnot, like in dodgeball, basketball, or if you're playing scrims or games, there's like 3 people left who are like all the Schmidt tier of like the friend group, and you're like, damn, like, you know, could we not find more other players? Like, you know, we got to stick with this. Like, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah. It's like I saw a tweet the other day where it was like someone's like, if you're ever feeling down in life, you ever feel like you're worthless, just remember there's primal pistols. And I was like, you know what? Like, you know what? Fair enough. I feel better about myself now. You know, Bala, on the bow conversation, I actually picked up a bow yesterday against someone with a primal. With a primal shotgun. No, with a primal shotgun. And I headshot them and I killed them. And I've never felt better about myself.
That's
ever,
a good feeling.
Ever.
That's got to be a good feeling.
So, yeah, it was satisfying. It felt really good. But yeah, primal pistol.
I don't know. The first time we've heard a Arena 11 success story on FNTASIA.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's funny. So like people like I'll play like arena or trios of like Harry or Resub or someone, or I'll be in somebody's lobby. They're like, "Oh my god, Levy, you're not a grinder." Like I play the game almost every day, but I'm playing like creative because I like I can't, like, for my mental health, I just don't play arena solos. Like, I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't take it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, I can't take it. But yesterday I was like, you know, let me just do it. And I played like 3 games and I was like, back-to-back wins. And I was like, I'm looking at my hands like, what's going on? And I'm in a call with someone, so like I'm narrating, I'm commentating it, yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Then the person in my call was like, Levin, you're lying. Like, stop lying. Like, you're clearly making this up. Like, it was crazy. I don't know what happened. I elevated as a player yesterday, and it was like so fun. Winning is so fun, but anything else just get me out of there. So yeah, but. That's why you're here. That's why if you hear anymore. Thank you. No, honestly, it means a lot. Thank you. I need that. I need the congrats. It was a really good moment for me. So yeah.
I realized Brahma pistols are basically dualies disguised, right?
That's what I was thinking, but I actually haven't. Oh, actually, I did shoot them at commandment. I think it was chasing us down one game in the Twitch Rivals thing. I was like, never mind. Like, let's not shoot this thing. So yeah, it's literally the dualies, but like weird. It's like
you don't even get 2 pistols, man. Like
and it doesn't feel as strong. The dualies are like doom doom doom. You know, it's like this thing is. It's like a piece
like you're misfiring, man. Like it's like, you know when you fall over and then you try to gain your composure, you fall over again. Like that's literally what it feels like.
That's exactly what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. And it also has like the charged shotgun like. Pressure cooker feeling too, where it's like what is it, clunk? Like it's all clunky. Yeah, that's exactly it.
But on the note of like, you know, having a buff to like makeshift ARs, accuracies, promo pistols being buffed, SMGs being buffed. If you saw these patch notes, like, you know, in the previous season, this would be bad. Like imagine seeing this in chapter 2, season 2, in a sense, seeing SMGs, all these close range guns get a buff in a sense. Like, why is there no freak out over these SMGs or everything? There is getting super pushed
I think
up.
there is.
I feel like I only see stuff about the bow.
Yeah,
I don't see much about.
I think that we're just like in a pretty happy place generally in the Fortnite community, and you know they're not realizing the doom that this is. I think this SMG buff. Well, okay, numbers wise, it's like fire rate increased by 1, which I don't know what that actually corresponds to. So maybe people aren't like freaking out because the stuff is there, but I feel like buffing spam weapons in general is always going to be looked down upon because of the way that we have this game where there's 2 different populations. But just in general, how spam weapons reduces skill, and it doesn't necessarily like in some levels it's like you have to be able to have a good tracking game and stuff like that, and you have to be able to predict when the best time to jump in somebody's box is, but compare that to like an actual pump v pump good versus good player where it's like, and whereas this ceiling is just like, yeah, okay, I just find out when to jump in the box and I'm good, you know? And then that dichotomy, like fighting that versus not fight, like having that and versus not having that is just weird. It's just always frustrating. So yeah, I think this is a bad change overall.
I think I think I agree with you in that, like buffing weapons like SMGs, like spam weapons and whatnot, is always like a sort of no-no. Like in the comp community, is always going to see it as a no-no. I think the reason why people aren't raving about it or like getting too worked up about it is just because I think the SMG is sort of fallen out of favor in that sense. Yeah. Like in the loadout now, like you don't necessarily have that much room to carry an SMG, and like if you have a player on your team and he has to be like, yeah, I want an SMG, you're kind of looking at him like, you know, do me a favor, mate, like pick up something useful. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the only reason why it's not a thing.
So is that because they got nerfed back after season 2? Remember they got like
and I think now, like, people, you're always going to carry a harpoon, right? So, like, that's become, like, standard now. Like, if you can have a harpoon, you're going to carry that. Snipers was a thing last season because of Surge. Now it's bows, and I think the current state of bows means that people are always just going to look to carry bows now if they can, if it's, like, a bow worth carrying.
Yep.
So I think that SMG nerf from back then did sort of, like, shift to that change where people are thinking, probably more useful to carry something else than an SMG. So
is there a balance though? Is there a balance between useless and controller player's dream? Like, is there a balance there? I don't think there is. I think that there's that midpoint that you reach and all of a sudden, boom, you're floored back up to where it's just the most broken, busted, annoying thing to face against.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there is I think as soon as you go even like a tiny bit over the line, because like if anything, right, I feel like even now, if all controller players was to just be like, let's just all just use SMGs hard, you'd get similar moments to what we felt. But it's just like, do you know what I mean? I think
it's not optimal. It's not like carrying SMG is not optimal, even for controller players, just because they can, you know,
they can use
even
their
for
ARs
God Tracker
in the same manner. Yeah,
exactly.
Like it isn't optimal. So, but I just don't think there's a way to balance. I think it's fine, honestly. I don't think it's an issue yet. Where it becomes an issue is if they are thinking, let's keep buffing until they use it. Then it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Please.
So like, what's the point of this at all? Is I guess where I'm getting at. I think the fire rate change also made it so that like in a laggy situation, you're gonna get hit by an SMG spammer just because of the fire rate. Or if you have high ping, you can't hold. I guess that was probably already a situation, but I think that needs to be never happening, like ever in my mind. You know what I'm talking about? Where like there's a bleed through of SMG bullets if the fire rate's too high when you're turbo building your wall. I think that should never happen.
I feel like in terms of, you guys basically nailed it on the head. There's no middle point. I'm not sure if like the bleed through effect was ever the SMG's problem or like building's problem in general, because I know turbo building had issues back then, and they also adjusted it to not be as prevalent, so things would bleed through or as fast.
Well, the minigun would bleed through, and the rapid fire SMG would bleed through back in season 2 too. So
yeah, I mean, there's also danger to bleed through on lag, right? So
exactly,
that's a big issue. But
I think that was still a thing last season. I feel like I remember seeing like P90 clips or people like shooting people through builds with P90 still in like laggier lobbies
too. Yeah,
So.
But I'm just saying this might happen. Well, I don't know. I guess there has to be tests, but like I just don't see a point. Basically, this is what I'm saying with this SMG change. Although I did watch, I think it was Calc in Dreamhack Extra yesterday, just absolutely destroy this kid 200-0 in the most ridiculous way with like a blue SMG or something. I don't know why he was carrying it, but he was. So I'm scared. I'm scared. Let me put it that way. Especially with what Levin said about, I'm scared if they go further. Yeah, I'm scared.
I feel like we're at a point where they can hard revert it if it does happen, like in a day. Because like it'll be easy to tell, and like we're in Backlash City Central, where if something happens to where
that's not how meta goes
SMGs.
It takes it's quiet when meta shift like that, and the controller players are back on board. It's going to be quiet. In my mind,
I know, but if there is another update that rolls through that buffs an SMG, I feel like it gets hard reverted in 2 days if everyone just jumps on it. Like, there's no chance to let that through, and we live in a chapter 2, season 2/3 vibe again. I don't know.
We have one-shot snipers back. We had drum gun season back in season 4, chapter 1, like, and it continuously is a thing that they've tried to get back into the game. So, I'm still scared. You might be right though. You might be right.
I want to jump over to talking about Cash Cup Extra first, because we're on the topic of SMGs, and then we'll roll back to other tournaments.
How does that relate? I said Calc.
You're fired. You're fired. What do you mean I'm fired? You're fired. We need a
guy is just Levin is just in the mindset of waiting for anything to grab the hosting wheel so he can drive for 2 meters and then crash the car, bro. I swear to God.
What's that? On the topic of SMGs, Cash Cup Extra. Come on, put some heart in it, man.
It's a good segue.
Put some heart, man. Where's the heart?
Okay. You know what? Then let's just stick to the script.
I think stick to the script.
FaZe Elite Cup.
You know, there would have been a better transition here too, because we're talking about Elite Cup and we're just talking about lag and performance, and then come on, man, we're all over
the DOS weren't connected using the wrong markers, but event did happen. And you know, if we're talking about markers on paper leaving a permanent legacy, it's happening right now in terms of Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. These guys are popping. I'd pull up the tweet, but we can't have. I wonder how many times we're gonna mention we can't pull up tweets. But anyways, Jack ending up winning it here. They won by 2 points towards the very end. It was close in terms of Voil, except in Snake. I think ended up second or winning the last game. I don't actually. They were in the top 2. I think they got the final elim, but they didn't get enough overall. Either way, these guys won it out. Had a good showing overall. They were in the top 2 almost the entire tournament. Took the lead in terms of towards the final games, and then ended up winning out. It was sick. The event was dope, other than a few things that we could talk about in a sec. But in terms of these guys' legacy, man, I mean, we're witnessing like golden era of this trio.
I mean, this is only like, okay, this is, what was it before this? There was one more thing before this, and then this. And then this week, we'll get even more results. But like basically every time we talk about results, there's going to be Jack Acorn and Slacks there, which is crazy to me. I mean, this tournament alone, the fact that you're able to perform well in this tournament, even with all the extenuating circumstances, speaks volumes to the team, and they continue to just get better at the style that they're playing, which to me is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're sort of the perception of them is actually sort of affected negatively in the fact that the way their style isn't necessarily this like monster truck roll through dominate style, which is like, because when you actually look at it, like people should be saying this is one of like the best runs we've seen, like this is crazy stuff. But like, because it's not in a manner of the way like MMB did it in Season X or as a dominating, do you know what I mean? Like the way that they're doing it, I feel like isn't, and I'm not saying that like as a bad thing, because I'm really impressed by what I see from them, but I think that does affect them. Like, I don't think people are talking about this enough. I think after yesterday, people were like, "Oh crap! Like this is actually starting to get a bit mad."
Yeah.
But even before that, we should have been. I feel like it should have been talked about more and more and more. But I think we're finally getting to that point, which is good.
I think to speak to that a little bit. I mean, Jack Acorn and Slacks are only now starting to like. They only in the past year started to grow in terms of their socials and their streams and stuff like that. And they aren't streaming events, so you can't necessarily compare and equate MMB, who every single player on that trio had massive followings at the time of Season X trios, like to this, and that's why it's not getting talked about as much. And still, anybody who's paying attention right now knows, all the good players knows, like these guys are the best of the best, and what they're pulling off is ridiculous. I personally think that we should have known after their Heats performance in the first FNCS trios, where they won like 4 out of 6 games or 5 out of 6 games or whatever, because like that's on the level of that. Remember when everybody's like, "Oh my God, King won 11 out of 12 games in Brazil." Like that was in Heats, bro, in the NA East. So like, yeah, I think we all should have known that this was coming. I think we all should have known.
Yeah, it's a combination of what both of you guys are saying in terms of the fact that, you know, with King, it's like these guys have height 5th zone every time, or getting some insane amount of eliminations. You can see it happen. You can smell the domination. But from what Levin's saying, it's true when you're watching Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, right? Sometimes absolute low ground don't get a lot of their elims until like, you know, that 6th, 7th zone strikes in, and they play the game very well, better and more consistently than everyone else. They're just not flashy, man, a lot of the time. Like they roll by.
That's what I was gonna say in like response to Bala, and that like I don't necessarily even think it's a streaming thing, because back when like people were talking, back when Aqua was dominating, right? It's not, he wasn't streaming shit, but it's like you knew, like with his style, he was aggressively taking height, and like you know what I mean, like you could understand, you could see it. It felt like a dominating, like really imposing himself on the lobby kind of thing. Where, you know, when you look at the way they play, it doesn't necessarily feel like that, which is why I think it's affecting them, not necessarily just the streaming stuff, but.
It's a very good thing too, because I feel like for a lot of these top teams, once they're in that dominating, you know, we've grabbed on position, if they ever let go, the community's like, wow, these guys let go, or wow, they fell off in a sense, right? I don't think that happens with a team like Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. Like they don't have as much pressure to hold on and stay up top, because they're just playing their game. It's kind of more, you know, their vision is kind of more respectful, and they're just in the zone 24/7. Like nothing the community can say can affect them. I feel like some of these top trios that, you know, end up landing at the Starks, you know the Mongrels, the Zayds, who end up, you know, flopping one tournament here and there. Community gets in their brain sometimes. I mean, I'm not them, but I feel like if the entire comm is like, wow, you're washed, like it's unfortunate. But for these guys, I just feel like they're invincible, but also invisible at the same time. Like it's just kind of crazy.
I think that's done for. I think the invisibility. I don't think we'll talk about that a single time ever past this FNTASIA podcast episode. Like I think it's done. I think these guys are definitely up there. Like, you know how we talked about the same thing about Reverse 2K Day and Miro. For them, it's like also over. Like, yeah, and we have stopped talking about it, because like, for example, when we rated them in A tier for the Elite Cup preview in our tier list, there's people on Reddit like there's people on Reddit like, damn, they're not respecting. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys are true. My bad.
Barla, man, you gotta start reading the Reddit comments, man. You can't sleep easy at night after reading the Reddit comments,
I
man.
sleep so good after reading Reddit. I sleep so good. They do be wilding out though. On the topic of results at the Elite Cup, though, I did want to like huge shout out to Accept, Snake, and Voil. Voil has been, middling in terms of like top performances. He's had a few with like Rocane and a bunch of other players as well. But this trio, they qualified through the Open like track through East Open, and they actually popped off in the finals. I think it was one of the few trios that did that coming out of the Open track. And I assumed that we'd have a couple. Obviously we weren't able to like know that they were going to make it or know who was going to be even playing and stuff like that in the Open track. But they got second. Except Snake and Voil got second. And they came from behind too. They weren't playing well in the first couple of games. Usually what happens is like the Open guys, they come through in the third party tournament, they play well in the first couple of games, and then they just like choke. These guys did the opposite, which was really cool to me too.
And then in terms of like the Opens or the Open teams that rolled through, kind of a cool mechanic that was introduced for format in this tournament. For Iamzo, Paror, and Gonzo, the guys who came in 8th overall, they missed a game. And one of the things that the production sides of the things did, like because they crashed, is they took their best game and their worst game, averaged the points, and gave it to them. In terms of when they missed the game. And I think that's the first time I've seen that actually happen in a tournament, unless you guys have seen it before too. But that's one of the reasons they're inside the top 8 as well, in the money.
That's dope. That's a really good idea. I've thought about that, but it can't have some like abuse issues and stuff like that, which are really sketchy. That's why I've never wanted to propose.
Imagine if there was like a team in first place or something that like misses the last game and gets like their points added, and then like you can sense the tournament's kind of over.
Yeah,
and like no one rolls in and wins, and it's like, damn, bro. Exactly. I'm not saying you should have crashed, but damn, like it gets kind of weird. So
Maybe there's a way to like make it so that it's like there's a stopgap. Like you can't like
passes and threshold of points you can't get any.
No, not like a threshold or something, but like if people pass your original points or something like that, or like it maybe just like holds your place rather than like. No, I guess that doesn't make any sense.
No, there might be hard, man.
It's so hard. You're right. Exactly that situation. It's like what happens if you go in the last game and the guys who are not in the game end up getting more points, even though they didn't even survive off spawn. They didn't do anything. I think that's certainly a weird situation. I didn't know that actually, so good shout. Did you guys talk about that on broadcast or?
Yeah, we talked about it. The game it happened. I think it was like game 3 or 4. And they were like significantly in the lead. Like I think they won the first game or something. And then after that they kind of fell off a little bit. They're like top 5. And so like there's always a reason someone falls off, but like wanted to keep them in. Someone in chat's also asking, do you think that like the format of that is a little bit generous in terms of how many points to give? I'm being interactive here. Like, screw it.
It's
why not just average points? Like you said, best and worst game.
They take the points they had. That's what they did. They took the best game they had. Like supposedly got 20 points.
Yeah,
and then they got 10 in their worst. They get 15.
Right. So what I'm saying is like, why not just average points straight up? So it's 10. Like say you have 3 games and they have that same situation. They get 0 points in one game. Why not? It's just 10.
True.
I feel like that would be probably better because best and worst game, that's not actually like the consistent result that you expect, right? You expect them to get average points, not something else. Also,
funniest part
it should take into account like thresholds and stuff like that as well, not just like I don't know.
After we give them the points, I don't think they got like many points at all after that. Like
I mean, that's the thing too. Like crashing tilts you. It tilts you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Also, the zones in this tournament were absolutely ridiculous. I actually want to talk about the zone stuff later. So I'm trying to think about stuff to talk about.
Go ahead. Why not?
We're talking about it now. Like zones. DJ posted a tweet. Like I think it was yesterday, man. Some of the
worst zones
craziest
ever.
zones you've ever seen. In this tournament, bro, it was like Coral Castle Central. Like I feel like we were up in this POI, so much crossing water, and it was so tough. Like I don't get it, man. It's just like it literally changes the tournament completely when these zones happen, and that happened like 4 times in this one. And the normal zones were still like on the outskirts of some BS. going up some crazy mountain. There was no like regular. I think we had like one regular game to play here. Other than that, it was like, you know, I felt like it was just so much more randomness in a sense. It was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to like. I was like half tuning in. I was like watching the end games the most, and yeah. So that's when zones affect the tournament like that, it's just like And you have to wonder as well, like who's taking advantage of it, who gets like natural advantage because of the way that zones are playing and stuff like that. But if you're saying Coral, then that's not necessarily the best thing for some of the players at the top. I'm not sure where Snake was dropping and Boyle was dropping, but maybe Bucky Macwood.
Buckwood. That's good. I like that.
Mac. You know, one thing to do to counteract Polar Peak or some crazy zones is to sometimes not shoot and work with players to rotate. And at the same time, if you sense water coming, you can toss up a Skybase. You know where this segue is going, basically. Some of the tomfoolery that was happening in the tournament, man. It came to a Skybase and teaming. WTF? Like, what is this?
Dude, I don't understand how this is possible. How you are in a point in your community that you're playing in your own tournament. We're talking about Sway and who was the other guy? FaZe member. Faxuty? Was it Faxuty?
I think maybe Faxuty, but I think he just stopped playing. I'm not sure if he teamed entirely, but
well, whoever it was, definitely Sway was involved, and I'm pretty sure Faxuty, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. Anyways, 2 FaZe members in a FaZe Clan Elite Cup think that because of lag, where they're not even making endgame in the first place, they're not even making endgame and lagging out in the first place. They're dying off of spawn because they're W keying in the first place. So they all of a sudden think it's their responsibility that they've got to start fucking around and ruin the tournament for everybody else because it's a joke. It's your own team's tournament. How the hell does that run through your brain and you're like, yeah, this is a good idea. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Like, how? I don't get that. I don't get it at all. And they should be like, if they haven't been punished already from FaZe, like, come on, man. That is such a bad look. Thank goodness that nobody gives a crap about orgs in Fortnite and in general. Because, bro, if something like this happened in any other game, they'd be honestly kicked from the org. Like, straight up. They'd be like, hey, it's their own tournaments.
Yeah, it might be cancelable on my part. Like, fuck it, I'm saying it. I literally said in the group chat, are these kids gonna get dropped from FaZe? Like, this is ridiculous. And it sounds
I'm not calling for that at all. Like I'm
not calling
they
for it.
They need to deal with that, bro. They need to deal with that. I was frustrated
because you know nothing's going to happen. You know nothing's going to happen, and it's because of, you know, maybe it's how orgs are viewed or whatever. But it's like in any other circumstance, like that is what would happen. That is 100% what would happen. And then or like an indefinite bench or something like that is. It's
you have to wonder what's happening here in the first place. Why are they getting invited if they don't want to take the shit seriously, no matter what? You know what I'm saying? Sway is not he plays events and stuff like that, but he's not somebody who's going to be like, yeah, competitive Fortnite's the best thing ever. We should play this tournament, right? He's not going to win the tournament. Nothing like that. He has never put his best foot forward for competitive. I'm not. Faxuty has played in West Cups and stuff like that and has done pretty well. But in general, it's like, yeah, it's the FaZe Cup, but let's focus on the FaZe players that are competitive. Let's focus on Bizzle. Let's focus on Dubs. Let's focus on Mega. And like let's leave it at that, you know? Cuz I could have seen this happening miles away when anything went wrong for Sway. He's already shown that he's immature in this way. Like what's the point of him even being in the tournament?
I think it's like in my mind, a numbers thing, right? Like, hey, we have a FaZe tournament. Like, get as many FaZe members as you can that even touch or smell of Fortnite in there. Like, I don't care, like what their story is. They play Fortnite. They should be playing in the tournament, and you know, we get exposure that way in a sense. So you're talking about, right? You know, we got Bizzle, Dubs, Mega,
Scented.
Like you know what I'm saying is like this is a couple teams. This is 3 teams so far that's representing FaZe, right? Like Nick Merckx, I think he definitely rolled in as well. But it's like, you know, in terms of competitive, you're not gonna have that much of a lobby stake because it's not that deep. Like the roster's not that deep, so you're gonna end up having players who don't usually play comp roll in.
I mean, you have the qualifiers as well. I don't know. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
It's like a mid-range, like, okay, this is a competitive tournament, $25,000. It's Elite Cup sponsored by Nissan. Like, this is going to be a good tournament. And then it's like, but we also want to like boost the viewership with our content creators and stuff like that. That all feels weird to me in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you guys, sort of went off there, and I like that, for the first time I get to just sit back and enjoy it, and just, I don't have to write myself.
For the first time.
For the first time, I ain't got. For the most part on FNTASIA, I'm running all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. Give it. Just relax, Bala.
Okay, all right,
relax, bro. Bala, relax. All right, everything's gonna be all right.
Sometimes I feel like you don't back me up, Levin. That's what I'm like.
Yeah, I'm always trying to back you up. I'm here for you. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm here for you. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting because this is a really big problem in Fortnite, where I've literally first-handed seen where players are just not respecting people who work for their orgs directly. I'm seeing it's a madness. Do you know what I mean? For some reason, well, not even for some reason, we know why. There's a large amount of immaturity, but it's I've seen orgs who can't, get a grip on it. And like you said, Shayo, it's frustrating, especially when nothing's going to be done. Realistically, nothing's going to be done. And something needs to change, man.
You know what's worse,
so
bro?
bad.
The worst thing was, I mentioned Skybases. It's like I don't know. It's like watching something you love and seeing a bad aspect of it, and then you turn the page and there's an even worse aspect where the community was pissed that Creo broke the Skybase and basically killed teamers in the tournament. We Chad have to go to emote only mode. Me seeing that, some of these people that I fucks with in a sense are ruining a competitive tournament that's been going on for days. That sucks. The community is on their side while the tournament's going on. Hurt my soul, bro. It actually
because when you care about themselves, man, they only care about themselves. It's the perspective shit again.
I'm not sure if it was death threats, but it was some ridiculous DMs to Creo's Instagram. A bunch of stupid stuff was going down because this guy killed teamers. Ironically, Creo killed teamers. Like the sickest redemption arc of all time. Actual third-part trilogy movie.
Oh my God.
Type shit. And then this guy's getting hate, man. It makes no sense to me. What is going on?
That is actually, that was so good, Shia.
Yeah.
It's just silly, man. These kids don't care about anyone. Fuck, whoever, right? You, Shia. That's your time. You're there to do a job. You're there to do a professional job to cast the event. For you, it's I
was fucking mental boomed, man.
Do you know what I mean? Honestly, though.
In game one, man, I was fucking feeling it. I was in the business, and then hints of weird shit happening game two. Game three, bro, I wanted to just lie down on my couch. I was just like, come on.
Remember, I tweeted, I was like, because you were off some good stuff in game one. You were going off the craziest wordplays I've heard from you. I was like, dude, let's go. I tweeted, I gassed you up. And then next game, brought out the food analogy.
Food.
I was like, oh no, this is going downhill real fast. No, but you're right on the topic of Creo and the hate that he got. I don't know why I'm surprised that 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds and stuff like this are easily influenced by somebody like Sway, that they obviously look up to. But I'm kind of confused as to. No, dude, it's so weird to me because this is something that should have been denounced right away and actually tried to be stopped. But how are these 12-year-old kids learning to be racist towards Creo and just in general? I'm like, this world sucks, bro. This world sucks.
I'm more confused for Creo, right? You roll in doing some stuff with.
Why didn't he get credit, bro? Why isn't half the community Creo going into a stream and just
good shit? Yeah,
he's Robin Hood in this situation.
He is. Dude can't win. It's rough, man. But I just the more I think about it, man, the worse I feel. So it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. There was one more topic about
lag.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah, big lag, bro. This is the first time casting live spec that I've witnessed lag in the live spec. Like this, like honestly, I think so. Yeah, in general, because
well, you haven't casted live spec that many times.
Yeah, I think we started casting live spec like January and then a little bit last year. But like every time you're casting live spec, you don't usually notice that much lag. You might get like a hitch or two if the server hitches. But like, I literally felt like I was watching player POVs.
No, yeah.
Like bang, bang. Like
that's just in live spec. We typically do see lag if there is lag. I think just in general, the performance this tournament was really bad, and that's why you would like have that difference, right, compared to a Dreamhack grand final. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know, because to me, nothing has really changed season to season. Like, yeah, sure, there might be some more. Like, what's the difference?
What were people saying, Levin? It was the animals rolling around everywhere.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, people were saying
bullshit.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. We had Marauders
this way, right? The biggest. You're asking, what are the differences this season? There's 50 times. Okay, exaggeration, but lots of times more AIs on the map that have to be.
That's not even
true
times. Though.
And then there's that is true.
No, it's not. We had a whole seasons. We had whole seasons with POIs filled with henchmen.
And they felt laggy.
And Marauders. No.
But not as bad as FaZe Elite Cup as well.
I genuinely
the animals then are rolling in.
It's the same amount as Marauders and henchmen. It's not like.
But they're coded different? Question mark emoji?
Yeah, sure, maybe, but I don't know.
I'm sorry. I saw like a conspiracy. I saw a conspiracy that there was like something where like somebody got like articles from like, you know, all these Business Insider rubbish thingies or whatever. They're not rubbish to be fair, but all of them. And they were like, you know, Fortnite Epic Ups, you know, they secretly switched the whole game onto a new match engine. And that's why we've been getting the lag. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you should be a detective, because I've not seen anybody come up with this.
Wait, what?
To be fair, I don't know what it is.
Actually,
bro,
like some website?
Bro, and on no. Like, no, it was a guy on Twitter, but like, honestly, it's the kind of thing where like
I was like, hold on, like there's
but it was
evolved from Business Insider to some guy on Twitter.
Because you guys aren't listening. Fucking hell. Shadow, listen. He got the articles from there, and like he was compiling different things to suggest that the game had switched to a new engine, because it was like a legit article, like where you know there's some new like match engine thing, whatever
behind that idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and the leakers are in on it. They're getting paid off, right? They will let us know.
That's what I was saying. Like, it doesn't. I don't believe it. But there was like that's what I'm saying. It got to the stage where it just got so crazy that people are just coming up with all different types of things. And to be fair, when I read it, I was like, hold on, maybe this guy's actually talking some sense. Like, this sort of, you know, it's weird, but it could be a thing. Obviously, we don't know if it is. If they switched the whole game to a whole new experimental engine, like. That'd be pretty crazy.
So the lag was fantastic in season 1 of chapter 1 or chapter 2 and season X. Okay, and then we did switch to the chaos physics portion of the Unreal Engine after that. When we moved to it was 11.4. It was the patch that happened as DreamHack Anaheim was going. The or season 2 came out and stuff like that. And then we definitely started having performance issues and whatnot. Remember before duos, it was like, we're not going to run FNCS until performance is fixed. And then they just like turned the switch on. We're like, FNCS is starting.
We got the young Travis Scott, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a balance.
Well, the people were saying like the chaos physics hasn't really been used for much yet and stuff like that. Like that's what the leakers were saying. Event? No, like they said it wasn't even used in the Travis Scott event. Anyways, really? They don't know anything. Like, they're leaking. They don't actually know anything. But that was the switch where we're back to very, very severe server hitches and whatnot. But ever since then, it has like kind of gone up and down. Some events we've had crazy lag. The last Elite Cup, we had significant lag. Like, people forget that. But that was, what was that? What season was that? Season 3? Season 4?
That was season
3. I remember because there was the caddy corner like stuff. And that was hella laggy. People don't remember that. So
is it like is it a custom game thing? Like,
I think that I think my theories, again, this is full conspiracy or whatever, but I think that there could be differences in the servers that are used for tournaments and the differences in servers that are used for everything else, arena and whatnot, because those games don't typically get as stacked. And then spectator, live spec.
Okay, so with live spec, I asked about this because I thought it was one of the things that was affecting it. For the FNCS, it's like 10 live specs that are being used, or like in general, like there's a double digit that's involved in there. And for FaZe Elite Cup, there was like 6 or 4 running. So like, like even tried
maybe the
dropping
combination
like,
of customs and live specs or something like that. Because the Amar Cup,
there's 10 live specs for thing.
There's like some amount that's higher than what was used in the FaZe Elite Cup, is my knowledge.
The Amar Cup hosted the same day.
Yeah,
literally the same day. Dual Cup, maybe not as stacked because it was EU and just in general like less stakes and stuff like that, less hype, like all that stuff. And there was no lag. Not like it wasn't a problem at all. So I don't know how many specs they're using and stuff like that, but this is a problem that needs to be solved. Like let's just put it that way. Like we need that. Like this is so many times, and we're gonna come back to this, and the reputation of the game gets damaged so hard. Yes, it doesn't come around to where FNCS is super laggy, but guess what? Bizzle's still gonna complain about his FPS, and everybody's gonna be like, "This game is the most laggy piece. The servers are trash." Like no matter what the condition of that grand finals, because people can't tell the difference between servers crashing type lag versus or whatever it is, spectators call it, whatever the situation is, versus what actually happens in an epic run competitive tournament. You know, I don't know how to fix it, but there needs to be some sort of guide on how to prevent the lag or something. There needs to be communication on this topic. There really does.
Yeah, it's one of them things where it's just, I don't know, it's too technical for me. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know much about servers and whatnot. So like and to be fair as well, it's one of the things where I get why players get mad about it. It's harder for me to get as mad about it, aside from if I'm having to cast over it, right? Like, I don't know. It's a thing where it's one of the things you'd like to hope that Epic, of course, want to deal with it as soon as possible. But of course, like everything, there's technicalities to it that are clearly
technicalities and priorities as well. And
yeah.
So I wish maybe there was like, if we know that doing a certain thing will cause lag in a custom tournament, that is to the level where pros will complain and cause it and say this is the most laggy thing, cancel FNCS type beat. Like we need to just not run that sort of stuff. You know? Yeah. Because this is damaging.
The only fix I can think of in my mind, not knowing any technical knowledge, is time traveling to the future and finding a build that works, then coming back now and implementing that build.
I also think that there's potential in these custom tournaments to just be less people in general, and I know that'll be still laggy, but like Ninja Battles vibe, like
also heal
and
up
just
potential.
Skip.
Yeah. This is a cheap joke, man. This is a cheap joke.
Yeah. Season 1 or Ninja Battles week 1 was lit, bro. With the heal offs, that shit was lit. Don't even lie. Don't even cap.
Yeah. It was.
Just start with 60 people, and that'll avoid the second zone surge. I know fifth zone surge is still really laggy, but just in general, like we're coalescing in a way that's, I don't know, less, because there was almost never everything there.
Surge? Like first zone surge.
No.
Okay. Respects. I'm just thinking.
I just don't want to see tournaments run where there's going to be lag anymore. And if we can avoid it, I think we can somehow. Then let's do it
someday.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, speaking of tournaments that are being run, and not being run at the same time, living in the same world, a little bit of Dreamhack, a little bit of sleep coding, a little bit of a rest.
Oh yeah, the thing
technology
you tried to do last time. Yeah.
The boys were like, "Yo, let's run it," and then the boys said, "Nah, never mind. I got stuff to do." So it is not running. I'll read the tweet out. Due to tournament integrity concerns, this weekend's DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite will be rescheduled to a later date in May. At a later date, we'll provide you information about the rescheduling of the tournament. Thanks for understanding. Orange/yellow heart emoji. I think I'm colorblind, or I just can't tell. Looks like egg yolk, honestly. But it's a cool ass heart. Okay, talk to me about what's the issue with tournament integrity right now? Like, why is this canceled?
Have you not seen the duplication glitch?
No, I've not seen the duplication glitch.
You can dupe every consumable.
Every throwable item you can duplicate. So you can have infinite floppers and
you could
infinite medkits
in a box.
Yeah, like you can. Yeah.
But
essentially,
if everyone can do it, then it's fair.
shut up, shut
Yo,
up,
that
shut the
actually lit,
fuck
bro.
up.
Imagine it's just 5 different teams
Imagine.
Infinity Love.
Yeah. So essentially, there's some smaller people, whoever it was, had tweeted about it or showed it, but obviously they didn't have relatively big platforms.
Wasn't it
Boop made a tweet about it, right? But he wasn't like actually the first person, but he was just like the first notable big person that people were seeing it from. And so like instantly just panic, like everyone just goes into a frenzy, whatever, you know, like the typical Fortnite apocalypse type shit, right? And
it's like the SpongeBob meme where like they're in his head just like burning everything and like
yeah, like
screaming.
literally exactly that. And what I really want to say is people actually started giving hate to Boop. Like people actually started like, you know, death threats, you know, full like, oh my god, Boop's just ruined our weekend. What would we? The worst, like it's the worst thing. Like it's so bad that we have this. Like I can't go.
I thought he was gonna explode. I was waiting for it.
I can't because like it honestly just makes me sad. Like because no, I can't. No, someone tap in. Like Bala, please just tap in for me. I can't.
I actually was gonna go the opposite direction. I didn't know he was gonna death threats and stuff like this. I was gonna say that he needs to be praised. Like huge props for Boop to put that shit on Twitter because needs to be fixed, needs to be, because bro, if we played Dreamhack with this thing and nobody knew, there's gonna be some team that abuses it and they're gonna get banned,
everybody would cry.
And everybody's gonna be crying. They could be like cheaters in Dreamhack and blah 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 blah. And then you know we do the entire cycle over and over again. Like let's fix it. Let's get. And
then Boop gets hate for not tweeting it, like
exactly,
you know, like,
exactly. It's like the Kaiser situation where he's like, "Oh, I'm held onto the northeast-west wall pickaxing, taking for a stride," and he was like, "Yeah, no, exactly, for sure." People need to be intact. People need to look at this tournaments and every tournament from a place of integrity and think of it that way. Like what would have happened if we tried to hold on to this? Like most likely people just gotten banned and stupid. Like it's a bug that if you abuse, it's so obvious that like you're not gonna have a good time. You're just ruining the entire experience for everybody. So this is really good for Boop to come forward and everybody that also retweeted and participated and tried to get this issue to attention, because if it was a few hours earlier, we could have been playing opens and doing exactly what Levin said, where it's like the people are abusing the glitch, and then it would have been hashtag something on
restart Dreamhack.
Yeah, it
would have been
and then reschedule it, and then everyone's like, wow, why didn't they just restart? And then we're just in a toxic loop, man. It's just it's so weird.
Y'all just saved multiple hours of your time because it's canceled hours, like what was it, 2 hours before the event started. Y'all just saved so much time. Y'all could have been sitting there at your computer getting ready to play, and all of a sudden there'd be a tweet and you're like, wait, should I continue queuing or what should I do? So yeah, huge props to Boop. Everybody should do that. When there's a bug like that, they should report it, especially when that's obviously abusable and will ruin the games for you, and it's not like a competitive advantage stuff you should put out, to be honest.
Yeah. Straight up. True. So we see. I'm wondering if this thing gets like, what if it's not fixed in a week?
I'm wondering, has anybody abused in the past?
I saw somebody say that this has been in the game for long, and I don't want to believe it, but like, honestly, I don't want to believe it, but
that's wild.
What change would have all of a sudden caused this to be a bug?
So my thing is, even if it was like a thing that was existing in the past, bro, we've got Timmy, Tommy, and Tenny in the business for every winner in the top 25 looking at total replays. So if it was a thing in the past, I don't think a major team would have been caught.
Yeah. I don't think a major team.
Yeah. But you know, what if it was done at some point? It still affects the entire, you know, timeline of this team kills this team, so this team can do that, blah, blah, blah. But they had an extra flopper or they duped 2 pumps.
It's clearly not obviously large scale in any form. Like this doesn't affect my thoughts about stuff in the past. I'm just curious, like how long has this been in the game? Because throwables have been in the game since season 2.
Long time now.
Like,
yeah,
you've been able to throw minis for a long time. But
bro, I just refreshed my timeline and I'm like seeing just people in like arena just abusing it, and I'm like, this literally just would have been happening. Like, and it's Fortnite, man. What a crazy,
it's a good time to
crazy
practice
community.
your reboot round heal-offs.
True.
French
true.
players.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. What are we doing there, Paolo? Come on, man. You can't. Come on.
Oh, my bad.
I'm here. I'm here for you, but you can't. You gotta help yourself.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. That was a mistake. My bad. J'aime les Français. My bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk results.
Shout out to the French.
Tournament. That
Allez les bleus.
Yo, we love the French. Yo, shout out to the French, bro. French is day one.
Je suis désolé.
Just sweet. Yes, sir. Talking Cash Cup and just results for a tournament that actually happened. There was solos, there was trios, and there was trio / Dreamhack. I literally am just rolling in.
I knew you were gonna have anything. So, pull up the EU results and we'll talk about them. How about that,
Right.
Sha?
I'm gonna
Give you a second. So this week's solo Cash
yeah.
Cup was won by Marine.
Very nice.
And ForZR got second. And yeah, those are very notable names. Other than that, Levin, did you Levin carry EU segment, please? Bingo.
Oh,
Yeah, Levin, you gotta carry the EU segment, man.
now they want me.
Oh, this is the one where shit was screwed, right? This was literally the cheating aimbotter guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, okay, we can
I
skip
saw a
this.
lot about
No, we can
this.
skip this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about. Are we going to Trio Cash Cup now? Or
No,
is
Yeah,
there
let's
something in
just
between?
let's zoom the trios.
You want to zoom in?
So
Four ZR is on a tear, by the way. Just the second
Yep.
place here. Mr. Savage also got ninth, I think, after the guy got banned. So that's first and then ninth in a solo Cash Cup. Where is he in trios, my mans? I know he
Mr.
plays
Savage.
like decently with Refsguard and Andretto one time, but I didn't see him in any of the extra stuff or anything.
are you saying in general, like, how's he doing in trios?
No, yeah, I'm asking where he's had a disappearing act.
Well, yeah. So the big thing with Savage is that, like, he's as a team player, it's not been there. Like last season when he teamed up with iDrop and TAYSON, BloodX, who was coaching them, was like the person who I've had to work with the most to like get them to fit the trio is Savage. Like he's not really been and BloodX blames it on playing with Benji and Letshi, which is BloodX classic. But yeah, he's as a team player, like we all know what he can do as a solo player, as an individual, one of the best there's been. But just his team play's just not necessarily been there. And I think it kind of makes sense when you look at what's happened with him in trio so far. But I'd like to hope that he can sort of work on some of the issues that are there. I think Refsguard and Scram are two great people to be doing that with. Or no, not Refsguard and Scram, sorry, Andretto and Scram. Yeah, Andretto and yeah, so I keep getting them all mixed up. But I think his issues will only, I don't know what at this point, as much as BloodX and other people have told me this, like, I want to know, like, what really is it that it, like, what is that? Is it like a barrier, like, mentally? Because I remember, like, in duos, for example, I remember doing a viewing party with DJ where, like, he was tarping, right? And it's like, you can see where it's actually like he's tarping like it's solo. So he's tarping for himself. Like, you can see, like, he's very solo-minded in that sense. But, like, I don't know what it is. Like, he's a really smart guy. And so I'm sure he understands this. I don't really know what the issue is for him now, but I'd like to think it'd be fixed.
I had to watch a little bit more of his trio stuff because he didn't qualify for Dreamhack Extra. Like, not a top 132 in the Trio Cash Cup with them, which is kind of interesting.
They were playing UK Customs. I saw him
really?
streaming it. Yeah, I saw him streaming UK Customs. So,
or did they just stop playing and then start playing UK Customs or something?
Well, I don't know if they ever played. But
why would they run Customs in the middle of Cash Cup? Or am I misunderstanding?
I didn't see them once. I don't think they played. Because you had to get 132, right? To get
Yep. No, they didn't qual. I'm saying they definitely did not qual. I know that for sure. Anyways, another solo performance here. I mean, we should definitely look like Bo Tambe. I don't know who that is. Anybody know who that is? No? Okay, cool. Third place. Fourth place, Wadzi. And then Chapix got fifth as well, which I think is notable. That Chapix is still really, really good form. But other than that, we can move on to trios. I want to try to add a little bit more to those solo Cash Cup conversations. So next week, we've got to come prepared on this shit. We better at least have some takes, because otherwise y'all are all fired, all right?
I'm on holiday, annual leave next week. But trios, right? Trios.
Yeah.
Exciting week for trio cash cups. I thought really exciting. Well, on the EU side of things, at least, whatever's happening in the NA can happen in the NA. On the trio side of things for EU, really fun week of cash cup, right? Because obviously we sort of had the TAYSON, FNTASIA, Nate, winning game after game. Then obviously there was Putrick, Scram, and Kiko, who were sort of like near matching them, right, for a period in time. Like for the first half of the cash cup, it was like, oh bloody hell, like these guys are all just winning game after game after game. What's going on? And obviously eventually TAYSON that pulled away. And like Barley, you alluded to at the top of the show, it's like they already had some decent spells where we can see like they're a really good trio. And of course individually they're all looking really good. But now it's like, oh,
very obvious.
This is just, it looks obvious. Ridiculous now. So
it just makes me hurt for the fact that TAYSON didn't get to perform at his peak during last season. I guess they still got 8th, right? But like, I wish he was on a team from the beginning, type of thing.
No, I don't like this though. I don't like this, and I've had arguments with people about this, including like people like Coach Harry and whatnot, where it's like, I really think we are overstating the performance from TAYSON last season within his trio specifically, and even how they did. Like, they were good. They were a really good trio.
I know.
Didn't have as good of. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like, in general, like, this is a really big thing where like people are like talking about like, TAYSON, TAYSON last season almost went missing, all like along those lines. Where it's like, no, like he was still consistently one of the best players in the region last season.
My problem is that he just didn't have the like this type of stuff starting at the beginning of the season. He was in no man's land because he was fucking around with different trios. That's my issue. I wish that he would have been doing what he's doing right now at the beginning of last season so that he could be going into that season as a god trio rather than which trio is he on? Oh, we don't really know how that's going to work out. That's how I felt about iDrop, Mr. Savage, and
I personally didn't feel that way, but I personally didn't feel that way, but I could see how you could feel that way. But I still think it's I still think last season
they did well.
They did, and I think
here's the thing. Like, look, they got 8th. Okay, multiply that by 3. That's not a good solos placement. You wouldn't have You would have been like, that was actually pretty disappointing.
Are we doing that right now?
No. I'm just saying, like put that in. That's how you frame it. It wasn't a good. Like, let's not say it was a good performance.
That's not how we frame it though. When have we ever framed it that way?
Because solos or trios.
No, yeah.
When have we ever framed it that way?
That's how I think about stuff. Yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't agree with you there, Barla. Then I wouldn't agree with you there.
I don't think a top anything other than top 3 or 4 in trios is not a good performance.
That's not right. That's not true. That's not true.
That's interesting. That's not right. Then what is a good performance in trios?
Well, a good performance is dependent on the actual trio itself.
I want the number. If Bala's saying top 3, top 4,
I agree with that.
But that's not But even Shy, that's not true. That's not that. What do you want to talk? Go.
Oh, we sound like we're on a fucking CNN news anchor segment right now.
No, but Shayo, it's dependent on the trio for one. So you can never do it. Okay, maybe in general, the general idea is you want to get top. That's what you call a default, but not every trio is like a good performance for certain trios could be getting 10th. Like I spoke to literally certain trios where they were like one of the reboot round team, Fleck and Diablo, that trio. They were like, yo, like if we can get 12th to 10th, like if we can get around that area, like that's a good performance for us. And that's true. I agree with that. Like that's fair enough for those guys.
Yeah.
For TAYSON standard, yes, I know as well for him personally, he will feel like it was an underperformance. Yes, because he had just come off back-to-back FNCSs or whatever it is. Cool. He didn't have a bad performance. They didn't have a bad performance, especially when, and the reason why I say this as well is when you look at it from a game-to-game basis. Okay, if you look at the end of the tournament, where do they finish placing? You could argue whatever, but on a game-to-game basis, like Kiko's trio, right? Kiko, Mosh, that trio with Slender, yeah, they won 2 games. They performed well. If you look at the overall standings, you might think, oh no, they didn't perform well, or they were an average trio. But when you look game to game, they actually had a couple really good moments, especially when they won games.
Game to game, like who gives a crap?
Because that's our job. We're analysts. Are we not?
Well, yeah,
we're supposed to be. We're giving insight. We're analysts.
Like when you talk about like actually how they performed in the tournament, you don't look at game to game. Yeah,
no,
sure. You say, they had. This is a good spark. You say this is a good point for them. They won 2 games, but overall they played like shit. Like that's how you.
They didn't play like shit.
Okay, I don't know how they played. Okay. You know what I'm saying, right? It's not game to game what matters in overall performance.
And my point is that even with Tayson, you still can't make that point to me. You can't make that point to me.
My point is that for Tayson, he underperformed last season because he was fucking around with trios at the beginning of the season.
But that's not the reason they underperform. That's not the reason they underperform, though.
What's the reason?
What's the reason?
There's multiple reasons, but the reason's not the reason's not.
You can imagine a situation where he doesn't fuck around with trios. He stays with 4ZR and Nate, for example, and they dominate from the start, and there's no fuck around. Like,
so you think that the main reason why Tayson didn't do well in FNCS is because for the first couple weeks of preseason, he wasn't definitively with iDrop and Savage.
That, of course.
But that's what you've just said.
No, that's not what I said, Levin.
That's what you've just said.
That's not. I say that might be a thing. I wish he was doing what he's doing this season last season, because then there might have been a better result. But that does not mean that's the main reason.
So what do you think is the main? So what do you think is the main reason? What do you think is the main reason they didn't perform?
He's ball is rolling in with. It's just a factor, not a definitive trait. You're understanding it as ball is rolling in with. This is what I'm saying here is a definitive trait of said player. This is not true. It's just one factor of what happened before.
But do you think that's the main? But do you think that's the main factor?
I honestly, I have no clue what the main factor for iDrop, Mr. Savage, and Tayson was last season. I didn't watch it enough.
Because that's my point. I don't think that's even a significant factor at all. That's my thing. I don't even think that's a significant factor for these guys.
Cool. Good.
I don't think you can watch them and say that that's a significant factor for those guys. I think
for those guys, sure. Tayson, why not? Why can't you say that?
No, for them as a group, I don't think.
It's about Tayson.
I don't agree. Yeah, but we're talking about him within that trio and how they perform, no?
Okay.
And even if you look and even if you actually look at them that season, right? If you look at how they played, Tayson was like the best player on that trio. Like he was the best performer out of all of them.
So if they had a better trio, what you see what I'm saying?
No, you're losing me here, Bala. You're losing me.
You're losing me. I don't understand what the hell
you're losing me. Because you initially sort of came on this thing of he's like this season he's not fucked around, right? He's been with 4ZR and Nate.
And they performed very well every single
and
tournament.
And they performed in preseason really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I expect him to go into FNCS and do well.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But from last season, and then you made the point of last season, he was fucking around, right? He was fucking around for a bit.
Okay.
And you're saying that sort of affected how he did in finals.
Yeah,
no, I don't think
that's not. I'm not saying that because
you said it was a factor.
Look, what I'm saying is, if he had solidified himself on a trio very early, that was a good trio. He didn't have then the result might have been better. All I'm asking all I'm saying is I wish that Tayson had a better result last season. That's basically the gist of what I'm coming down to. And fucking around with trios in my mind was definitely something that could have been a factor at the beginning of the season. Their result, whatever it is, whatever it is, what it is. He wasn't on the trio that he potentially could have landed on if he wasn't fucking around in the beginning of the season.
Okay. And now to clarify another thing, because Shia threw this in earlier. I don't like how you tried to throw me in on this under the bus, Shia. Name a reason. One, iDrop and him have beef, like serious beef. There was real chemistry issues there. 2, mentality issues, because we saw it with them. They were constantly complaining about zones with Salt when they're landing mid-map salty. Like there were issues there that affected why they didn't do well. I don't necessarily think the fact that, they weren't a trio from the very beginning of the season was that big of a deal. I think there were a lot of trios that were similar to that, where from the beginning of the season, I think the actual Tayson splitting away from Mongrel Mitra, that whole thing sort of was that rift. And there was a big break in between as well, which is a bit different from last season to this. But there's reasons there, regardless.
Yeah.
Still, and another thing, because obviously we've sort of gone back and forth on this, we do agree on the essential point of, yes, by Tayson standards, by what you expect of Tayson, yes, last season was an underperformance. I just don't think that we can categorically say it was a bad performance in general, But by their standards, yes, of course, it's disappointing because you'd expect TAYSON to be top 3.
I mean, from all the video that you made, from basically everything that you've explained about I Drop Mr. Savage and TAYSON, I'm like, okay, cool, they got 8th. Like that's there was some shit going down. Like that wasn't necessarily like they weren't playing to the potential of the trio, and they still did what they did, which is good. So
and shall I say the reason why as well that this is a thing for me is because if you look at previous rounds, like if you look at heats, if you look at certain rounds within the qualifying weeks, they were playing to that level. So it's not like it's not like we saw that potential and people like me were saying they had that potential and they never reached it. They did. Those moments, like even if you look just at heats like from the week before, they were playing at that top level. It's the reason why going into it, like if you go back and look at all the lists that people are making for predictions, most people had them in the top 3. And it wasn't like an overreaction or anything. It was rightfully so, because if you looked at the way they had performed, it made sense. It's just on finals day, on that weekend, things didn't work out and it was an underperformance in that sense. So,
cool. That's like the first actual heated debate about like real shit in the competitive scene. Outside of just like I'm complaining about some bullshit. Like
I like that. That's what I live for. You know? I like that. That was good.
Let's go. All right. Nice. What else in this guy? I guess we should. Do we do DreamHack Extra first and then go back to NA East, or how do we want to do this?
Can I just say something for cash cups in general?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I hate them. Don't follow them, and I feel like they're absolutely useless and garbage.
Okay, I don't.
Why? Because they're just impossible to watch. I feel like every stake that's set up by a cash cup ends up like it. When I used to follow them, builds up false expectations. You roll in the FNCS, some dumb shit happens every time. I can't follow someone properly. And watching these things, this is just the main point. It's a note here in the script, but this is like my personal take as well. It's just a nightmare. It is impossible just to watch. Like, I don't want to viewing party it. I don't want to have 56 streams up. And even when it's done by broadcast, it never hits compared to an actual structured event. The stakes aren't the same. I just don't like cash cups. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
On the topic of watching, we should highlight the fact that it was really bad this week because of like the replay issues. Because that actually affected me. Like I wanted to do some prep for Cash Cup Extra, and like I was limited with that because like there was the bug in
maps.
There was the bug. Well, they fixed the map bug, but yes, there was the map bug. There was the issue where you can't actually watch because certain players will freeze and they'll disappear and they'll be stuck in zone, and like it made it really difficult to watch this week. So like, yeah, it is hard to follow Cash Cups for people, especially when they're not streaming.
Is that so? Yeah, maybe we should wait until we talk about DreamHack Extra to talk about like viewing experience in general. But like, is that? Let me ask a question real quick. Is that why we didn't watch FaZe and we were watching TAYSON instead in the last game
of Cash Cup Extra?
Yeah, because he got like 14 kills or something like that, and we never showed TAYSON, or we never showed FaZe. We just watched TAYSON. Maybe not. Anyway,
that is. Oh no, you know. Oh yeah, that was. It was Nate that got Nate got 12 kills. I remember that game you're talking about now.
Yeah,
Nate got 12 kills, and we never watched it. Yeah, I don't know. That could be. You know, I didn't think about that. I don't think they ever fixed it before because we use replay. Now that you say it, it's all making sense now.
Yeah. I was wondering. I'm like, whoa, what is happening? They know for sure. Like, who's popping off in this situation? Like, I'm confused. But anyway,
but it's good that they watched TAYSON because TAYSON had like the crazy kill at the end with like the AR hip fire. It was pretty sick to be fair. So. It worked out.
Yeah, let's talk about the DreamHack Extra results then for EU to start with, because I honestly I enjoyed this tournament specifically because of just the fact that they were stat games the entire time. In general, we had some really cool battles. Okay, we started off like FaZe, TAYSON, and Nate, who won the tournament at the very beginning. Within the first 3 games, they were hard dueling against Andalex, Xweez, and Snazy, like hard dueling. And that was the trio that last episode we were like, they're the trio this season. And they were not doing well because of it. TAYSON, FaZe, and Nate, like one game they got zoned in 5th zone, they were staring each other off a height, and then Andalex drops down, and they just like die. And FaZe, TAYSON, and Nate go on to win the game. Like just some really, really, really fun stuff at the beginning of that tournament that I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was fun to cast over. It was really good, like you said, on the behalf of like, you know, production observers for being able to show us that well. Like I specifically remember that point you're talking about as well, where it's like they pull zone And then Anderlecht are like, bloody hell, we got to drop now. And like, you'd think they're fine, right? Because they got Peppers. You'd think, yeah, they can drop and run, they'll be fine. But it's like, no, they were just getting beamed, right? Like, so it was really good. I think it was fun to watch. It was new, right? We've never had something like this. People didn't really expect the games to be as stats as they were. I think there was a lot more early game fighting, which even from like a broadcast perspective was kind of good. I guess there was like a bunch of action. Like, people were looking at this point format like, this is gonna be god awful. Like, this is gonna be one of the worst events you ever had. Like, the point format is just messy. Like, who made this? And like, weird. I'm not like definitively saying it's good or bad or anything. Like, I feel like I haven't made my judgment yet. But like, for what it produced, it wasn't that bad. I don't know. Like, from my perspective, it actually sort of worked out well to a degree. So I guess that was interesting to see.
I think the cool thing is like the stakes for Cash Cup are still the same. Like, you still want to win the Cash Cup because of the money, but at the same time, you're getting this qualification thing. I think in the future, if we continue this extra thing, it's going to be like the Cash Cup doesn't matter at all. It's just going to become an open stage. But then there's extra, and extra is another round of this matchmaking system in a sense that we haven't really seen since, I believe, Trio FNCS, where you have this stage where it's top 132 teams, 4 lobbies essentially, playing a matchmaking system and trying to play their best no matter what. It's not just qualifying, right? Whereas when there's like a top 33 qualification threshold, like, we really don't care what's happening at the top. No, we just cared what was happening at the top. We cared who was winning the tournament, and that was really cool to me in this sort of format. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff. Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil. I don't know if probably Amar watched it. What I did to watch this tournament, basically in NA East, I rewatched Aussie's stream for a viewing party, and I also watched the broadcast again. And because I'm trying to get a whole picture, I didn't get to see Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reasons, except we did watch one of those games on broadcast, and it was sick. The way that they took height in that game was nasty. I think it was Noah Riley. He just snuck, bro. They were deep ahead, and he just goes back and just finds his way up to the top. And then Reason fights with him, and they get height, they win the game. It was so cool. It was off the top of a mountain end game as well. That was like one of the coolest mountain end games I think I've seen.
It was like, I think in the analyst segment, I tried to highlight that it was like they were playing front side, and I think they realized, oh shit, it's gonna pull back over a mountain. And Riley literally, like, he's going forward, the front side, he just like looks up, and he's like, and he just goes, and it was so good. It was so good. And even though Vidil like dies, it's like they still win out the game. So it was literally the game-winning play for those guys. Like, it was really
and
good
it was
to
a
watch.
Comeback for them too. Like, they were down bad. I
Yeah.
think, and then we didn't get to see the last game because instead we watched FaZe the last game. But this tournament was really close too. Like, it was really close. It came down to the wire. Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil won their next game with something like 14 kills as well, and they came way back. But at the same time, in another game, FaZe, TAYSON, and Nate have a ridiculous one too. So
it was good to see them do well, because like recently, because they've like mainly Noah Riley and Vidil have just been playing Valorant. Like, I was gonna make a video about this where I was talking like, is it like history repeating themselves with? Or it feels like that with Mongrel Mitra. Remember, like, after the Mongrel Mitra win FNCS, they just play COD, and like, they're playing COD, they're playing Warzone, and they're not really playing the game, or they don't really care all that much, it seems like. And it's not the same, but it almost started to feel that way with No Rally for doing that. And so to see them sort of just come back, first significant tournament, I guess, and
didn't Mongrel Mitra and TAYSON have a very similar thing though that happened?
Well,
I think the first
when they came back with MMB, when they came back with MMB, they did well, and the people were like, "Oh my god, MMB's back! Oh my god!" So maybe history is repeating itself. I don't think it is, but it'll be funny to see, I guess. So
yeah,
nice to see them do.
I don't think it's like the same sort of.
It's not.
I don't know much about this Nebs Bubak, and I know who Wise is, and I know Nebs is, but I don't know who Bubak is. But they had an insane duel in the last game, also to make third place, which was cool as well.
Yeah, that was. I feel like we were able to follow a lot of the things that were interesting. Of course, we didn't really get to watch Benji much, and they did quite well. But you have Benji's stream, so you know.
That's my main complaint about viewing experience for these types of tournaments. Actually, tournaments in general, is that there's nowhere for me to get a complete picture. There's absolutely nowhere for me to get a complete picture because the viewing parties who are doing like the typical stuff like Aussie just watch streams, no replays, nothing. They're not trying to track the beats or anything about standing shifts or anything like that. Whereas then I go back to the broadcast and they're following one game at a time, and there's just people that they're missing entirely. That was my main viewing experience complaint.
We've never really seen in Fortnite, if we were to have like more significant events where you have 1-3-2 teams and like it's multiple lobbies, like do you think like it makes sense to have like B streams where like you're in a different game and they're following a different game, or if not like an actual broadcast, like you give somebody like the rights, so like Shayo can do a viewing party of it with like the spec and he can be following another game so people get an idea?
No, because well, maybe that's a good solution. I think actually the Elite Cup messed around with that. Shai,
Really?
I don't know if you have. They were during the was it heat? There was 2 heats going at the same time, or what was happening?
So in the heat stage, there were multiple like heat/games being played at the same time. So you had we obviously covered the main one on stream as to what we were watching. But it actually no, we were watching one heat at a time.
I think it was
what it was
game,
it was
right?
Yeah, at all times we were watching one game, and I think this was up for the finals as well, and it was up for the semis as well. So I was watching the semis, was there, and the finals was there. We just had another observer feed, just no commentary. And sometimes we pulled for it for the main broadcast, just in there watching teams that and usually were not on broadcast.
World Cup did that too. I think
I remember the website for World Cup was so good.
Yeah, they had 10 perspectives that were coming through, which was sick, which was really sick. I don't think enough people took advantage of it, and I think that a seamless way to do it would be nice. But I honestly, I've seen that happen. I've seen it in many games. Overwatch had like a command center where you watch all the different POVs. Like obviously for Fortnite, it matters way more because you're trying to follow different perspectives. But I just don't see myself ever like utilizing that because I want to go to one place. Like for example, doing this rewatch of the Dreamhack, the extra cut for NA East, I went to Aussie and I went to this. I already had multiple perspectives, but still there was no cohesive, complete picture.
Yeah,
and
it's already too much to consume.
Want complete. I just want all the relevant shit. You know what I'm saying?
Edible.
Yeah, exactly. I want the stuff that matters. I don't want to watch the last place team storm fight. You know? And that's how when we get stuck in these one game things, I really wish we had a mix of this one game style and the World Cup style. Yeah, Shia, you've heard me talk about this forever, but like imagine if we had the red zone style where we're jumping between games, but we're doing it in a deliberate manner. We're not just watching an end game because somebody got 14 kills. We're watching an end game because this has 3 of the top teams that are live right now, and they're all in this end game. And as soon as these guys die, I don't even really care who wins the game unless it's super relevant. I want to go watch somebody off spawn because the queues are closing and stuff like that. Like all these things, like people are typing in chat like, oh, what happened to this person? Where is this person? Like stuff like that. And
you're always gonna get out of Dreamhack.
But the thing is, some of those chatters have merits. Like, yeah, I'm curious too. Like, yeah, I'm on board, Mr. To suck my toes or whatever. Like that like I'm on board. So that's where I wish we took that way to go. So it's like one complete picture where we're watching the standings constantly, we're watching the queue times constantly, and we're following it that way rather than we're following one game of Fortnite or we're following anybody who just has streams up. Shai, we tried to do this as best as we could during FNCS duos. And
yeah.
I think I had a lot more fun watching those specifically.
In terms of like the way you mentioned it, in terms of what questions are being asked in chat, I would rather have a question being asked, why didn't we finish watching that game? Why did we switch off that POV? Then where is said player and why aren't we watching this team? Where are they? Because the person that asked the second question, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of TOs don't roll with it. Is because you know, why would we switch off like literally, you know, a third place team dying and then not watching the last 60 seconds of the game? It's like if you just explain it to someone one time, they'll get it and then they'll be able to follow that story. But if you're explaining to someone why you're not going to be able to watch a team, that problem will be ever ongoing. You'll never, not even convert the person, but they'll never understand, right? It'll always be an issue. So if you have the other question there, seems weird, seems off. Yeah, you don't get your #1 victory royale. You know, it's unfortunate, but like you you get to follow the story, not just the games, which I think is more important for a broadcast in general. So, yeah.
Yes. We completely didn't get to see Noah Riley and Fadil's last game, which could have been better than Tayson's for ZR's game, and they could have won, and that would have just been like, whoo, wow, that's crazy. But yeah. Andalex, Snazy, and Sweeze placed 8th. They had to come back, but a lot of people ran into timing issues in this, which honestly could be a problem when it comes to FNCS. If for example, Andalex and them are running into timing issues for the last queue, trying to qualify for whatever week. Like, I guess everybody's qualifying for series points anyway, so we don't really care as long as they make it once. But...
Yeah. I think it's just because it was like 3 hours, 10 games. It was actually somebody said it was basically what semis are like for DreamHack Opens, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think just on like the thing of what you guys are saying with following the thing, I think Fortnite is a challenge in itself. Like, I think of all the games and sports I follow, Fortnite's the hardest one to follow. Like, I have to spend way more time, take way more attention to be able to follow and understand what's going on in Fortnite than anything else. And the fact that we don't necessarily have like these things, like I remember when you did your first stream back on Fortnite, Bala, you were just like, I want a recap of FNCS that I can just watch and understand like what's going on. Like, you know, the fact that we don't necessarily have these things is a challenge. And I think people are trying to solve these challenges, but at the same time, there's probably more that needs to be done. So
yeah. So just a couple more topics on this EU extra cup. Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. Benji popped off in a couple games, which I think is really nice. This is a trio that's doing pretty consistently, but never top 3s. Like, do we expect these guys to get better than what they are right now? Because right now they're not winning FNCS.
I mean, Benji has the grand finals curse, man. You know, he's never done well in grand finals. So
yeah, I think it's weird because I think a lot of people think that is their ceiling of being an FNCS championship winning team, but it's like you'd expect to see the signs. And I think there were times, especially earlier on, where like it looked magical. You know, it looked like, oh my gosh, like things are finally working out for Benji. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you expect by now to see the progression. You expect to see them being a team who every odd event they are winning it, right? They are doing that. Do you know what I mean? And they've not necessarily done that yet. So I don't think it's harsh. I think it's actually fair to be able to be like, you know, when are you guys going to get things together and start winning events? Like, what is the issue there? I think that's fair.
To be clear, I'm not saying that this trio is like
trash
or anything. I'm just saying like something needs to change for them to get top 3. And I think I'm comfortable asking that question right now. Like, how are they going to fix their issues? But I didn't get to watch them, so I don't know what their issues are or anything like that. One thing that we haven't talked about, and it's actually been a couple episodes now that they've been back. Janice, Chapix, and Hen are playing together in all the recent cups. Like, they never actually broke up a single time, as far as I'm aware.
I think it was just like for scrims. I literally did my best to avoid all of that until like we get to now when events that are mattering happen. So I know, cause I didn't want to like
we're 1 week out
my
now,
brain of all the crap.
So that's why
so
like,
you gotta
we can pretty much solidify most of these trios. I think. I think that trios who are fucking around right now aren't gonna do well.
Oh my god.
So
with those guys, I think I expected them to do really well because of the format, where it's, you know, elimination heavy, or at least going into, you know, we were saying that like it's going to be elimination heavy. So like, regardless of what issues they've had, their ability to fight as a team, you know, nearly unmatched. The only other people I'd put on their level is obviously Vidil, O'Reilly, Reason. If you actually look at the Cash Cup as well, even though they didn't do well in Cash Cup, they got 69th. Their average of limbs was like way higher than anyone else, right? So I did think they'd do well. And I think they did all right. Top 10's not too bad for them, I guess. I think, isn't that actually like the lowest placement they've gotten in an event together?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's actually something to know. I didn't realize that.
I think
because they've gotten top 5 in every event they've played.
They should have broken up.
Flipping out. Maybe it's all over. Guys, it's all over for them. It's done. The magic's gone.
It's wraps.
The magic's gone. Flipping out. Yeah.
I mean, shit, doing something like that on Twitter definitely could influence. And I mean, it's only one tournament, so I'm not going to write it. Like, the fact that they did what they did last season already is like, damn, okay. Like, and they still placed 10th here, so let's not be hasty.
Well, actually, no. The Cash Cup would have been the first one, right? The Cash Cup would have been the first event they've not placed top 30 or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think do we expect these guys to like repeat? Is that the expectation for these guys?
The way you were talking about them when they were about to break up, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would be the standard people set them, especially since Chapix is still doing well. You know, everybody's as a solo. I think I don't know. I haven't really spoken to people about like who they think the best players in the world are, but like for a long period of time, it was people saying Hen, and I don't think that would have changed much. Maybe it has with Anderlecht, like, and FNTASIA and all them dominating and Squeeze, but yeah, I think the expectation will still be for these guys to go and challenge to repeat, but I don't know. Maybe there's sort of a downward spiral for these guys now. Who knows?
I had one more thing that I noticed from the extra was it was more about the Cash Cup. Was Anderlecht, Snazy, and Squeeze? They got 130th. They barely made it in, and that kind of when I watched them, and also like when I've been just talking about the amount of third-party tournaments that they're doing well in, none of those have had an open stage. And now I start to get worried if they're gonna pull a little MMB classic or like. Not, you know what I'm saying? Are we worried about that at all? I don't think I am.
I wouldn't be.
But okay, all right, cool.
Do you know what I think actually is an issue for them? Which I haven't watched their Cash Cup back because I literally couldn't watch their Cash Cup back. But with how well they were doing in preseason, I know for a fact that in like most competitions and most things that are being played now, like Catty is incredibly like over populated. Like loads of people just want to go Catty. You know,
True.
It's like,
well, it might be because of them doing well during preseason.
That's what I think. That's what I think it is, right? So I think loads of people are trying to go Catty. Loads of people understand that if you're using peppers to play height, like it's really like effective. Like it's really hard to stop right now. I do one
fucking VOD review and they're just screwed, huh?
You know, it's this Bala, the game. You changed the game like this, Bala. What can I say? The meta is just. Bala like has the strings and he pulls one string, the meta changes, like fucking hell. So I think that is probably what I'd guess without watching any of the games would be like the issue. Maybe they're having like some issues off spawn. Because I think once these guys get off, like out of, Catty, which they do successfully a lot, like they are really good at fighting Catty.
Good at fighting.
Yeah. When they get out of it, I don't think there's really any issues in their game. The one issue would be like we saw in Cash Cup Extra where they didn't get height, and they were facing a good team playing height, and they sort of lost it. And then it was just like, okay, well, we didn't pull zone. There's a good team playing height now. We drop. That was a bit messy for them. When I didn't think it would be. I used to always think their mid ground, and their low ground was really, really good.
Yeah. But
they've sort of postured towards playing height more. Like I think that's where they're more comfortable. So it'd be interesting to see. But I'm not overreacting to that performance on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we can move across the coast, Sha.
Across the coast.
Right, you're like, fuck, it's still Cash Cup shit.
No, that's not. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying it. I'm nice. I'm vibing. Rolling with what's going down outside of tournaments, completely outside of tournaments, I guess, in a sense, or kind of in them too.
Oh, wait, are you just personality like, fuck it, we're leaving?
Yeah, I'm Chat is taking a break from Fortnite. Indefinitely, so to speak. What is up? Initial reactions in the moment from both of you. Ball, start with like, did you see it coming or what's up?
Kind of a little, but I mean, just because you've been playing Valorant and GTA RP and stuff like that, and then when did this happen? Was it because of the lag or what during Elite Cup? I'm pretty sure it was,
I think this was
watching it or something
honestly,
like that.
I feel like this happened starting like season 2, season 3. Like there was a definite change after like the Liquid squad.
Well, no, I think it was
yeah.
Where like, I'm not railing on any other players, but
Chap starts to play with people I wouldn't expect to see him playing with, right? Like you expect
when everything shifted to solos, that didn't help either, right? Because he was really against playing solos. So
and Chap and AV were a dope combo, right? And that was elevated. I'm like, okay, never mind. He's still in the same space that Chap operates in, right? Like over the years, like the upper echelon of players, the top tier, right? But then you start seeing these trios, and I'm not saying they're devolving by any means. It sounds like Savage is hell what I'm saying, but like I just saw the decline, or like just a change, like a gradual change. Chap, who was playing with the results as well, and like the tweets, the enjoyment in general. I felt like this was coming from like a long time. Yeah.
Well, there was the Chap AV Edgy, or was it Commandment? Or remember they were landing caddy corner, and then they were like fighting. It was in season 3. There was still like a nice trio type of thing. And again, not trying to be savage or anything like that, but it just felt like he was not all of a sudden pulling the types of people that he was hanging out with. And yeah, since every single FNCS after that, basically. Who was it? It was Chap, AV, and Edgy. There you go.
Yeah, I think when you start playing GTRP, No Pixel, you've just sort of been roped, and it's all downhill from there, really. I think, lots of respect for Chap and OG. I still remember WBG Chap, the famous clip of him doing the double ramps and reinforcing. It was like, bloody hell, this guy's a wizard. But, you can't be, queuing for No Pixel RP and, trying to be a top competitor at the same time. It's, there's a balance there. It doesn't work out too much. I think.
Well, I'm glad that he realizes it right away, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not like somebody messing around and screwing around. He's just like, he's playing this. He's like, I enjoy this, and I don't enjoy that. All right, cool. We're moving on.
He hit the off beats of Fortnite first, though, comparatively to everyone else, right? In terms of like top level stuff, like in terms of watch parties, wasn't Chaps like the really popular one that came through first? Like everyone was looking forward to Chaps parties. Like Emad would hop in there sometimes. You'd have different creators rolling in. Like he was the first person, like when Fort was going in ways that people didn't like, to think outside the box and stay involved.
Yeah.
Right. So like, all the way up till now, I think this is the one time where it's been tough to think outside that box, because now like everyone and their dad can do a viewing party. There are dads doing viewing parties, and then like you've got like it's like it's not saturated in a sense, but it's tough to like be attached if you don't want to play. You know what I mean? For a lot of people that are competitors, because in the past there was many creative options, especially with COVID as well. Right? It's not like you can go up to an event and be immersed there too. It's like if you find yourself detached from like the game itself, like when like the top tier competition, it's hard for some of the top players to keep latching on.
I get it.
Yeah. I get it. No, I think I'm happier for him though. I think
this is good for him.
I think
in terms of comp, maybe downhill, but like in terms of everything, like stream, everything else, like he's gonna do well. I think Chap can do. I think he's gonna do well. I don't necessarily think that he's in that hype growing phase. I think he's gonna be like probably not necessarily happy where he's at in the next couple of months, but I see Chap turning everything up and just becoming who he can and should be, like a funny dude who is just chill and is just constantly vibing out,
lots of tears from the casual sphere though, because everyone's like, wow, all the OG, like, as Levin said, he's OG, all the OGs leaving. Myth left the Valorant, Chap's retired, Tom doesn't play anymore, rah. It's like true. Well, there's people who are still invested and are getting more investments. Another series of Orgwatch coming through. This time we just basically have one signing. It's scoped. The Team Liquid.
Let's go.
Kind of cracked. Kind of nuts. TL is still operating in the realms of Fortnite competitive.
This is their second signing recently? Like I forgot who already.
Look, Cactus, Mr. Cactus in chat, he's a better host than you. You didn't even try and link that one together. Speaking of Liquid, Chap. Liquid's picked up a new player, bro.
Would think of that segue.
But you didn't even think of anything though. That's better than nothing. What did you do?
We sometimes it's nice to just do a dry move.
No,
you investments as well.
I'll give you that. I'll give you the investment thing, I guess. But you're better than that, Shadow. Look. I'm hard because I care.
You've been hard this entire.
Wait, what?
Pause. Pause. Yeah, first of all, pause. Now wait a minute. Let's take it back.
Yeah. You're not gonna catch me for this one.
In 4K11.
I didn't mean it like that.
Now hold on, I'm on his wall and behind the scenes too.
I'm not gonna let the people deem me like that.
Pause.
You know what I meant. I know what I meant. You know what? It's over. It's too great. I said what I said, didn't it? Lock me up. Arrest me. Lock me up.
Take him away. Take him away.
Take him away, man.
This is cool. Scope signing is really cool to me. I think he was free agent for so long, and he was one of those people that like grew so fast during the Tfue Scope days that he was like above like half of the orgs that were out there. Like above. And I think that the fact that he stayed a free agent for that for a long time really brought his value up. And Liquid is an org that in my mind matches that. And I think this is a good time to sign for Scoped in terms of like comp success. Hasn't necessarily been where we would have expected him after like the FNCS duos craze, especially through FNCS solos and invitational performances and stuff like that. So I think this is good for him. I think that this might help him even elevate even more. You know?
Yeah, let's talk about what Liquid gets. They get to have him on the team tag around the stream. Maybe he changes his name to something that's illegible. And then if they have a tournament, he might cheat in it. Who knows?
No.
Let's go. Big value. Wow. Buy. Never sell.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. I'm still wondering, like, what happens, what he gets, what rolls through. I see some cool things in, like, high level content creators / people in the scene, competitors signing to an org and then doing some really cool stuff with them. They end up having some cool one-off stuff. We saw the Origin stuff with Mitro, but things that are ongoing, like big projects usually is when people get signed. So maybe there's like a project coming in with Scope. So maybe there's something to be involved in that like we're trying to roll down. Who knows? It'd be cool. Their face reveal and it's like it's on a car, like a Honda. Like that'd be
sick.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Like a new Honda, the scoped Honda that everyone in the streets is driving around with Scope's face. Where's this logo? I guess
it's just Ubers. The Ubers are sponsored by Honda. All of a sudden, they just get a bunch of Honda cars and it's only Scope's face. Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. Cool. So do you want to go back to Cash Cups or you just want to just
y'all can, if you guys want to keep talking Cash Cups, you go back to Cash Cups.
Because I was like, yo, all right, cool, we're gonna go across the coast, but it's still Cash Cups, and you're like, nah, fuck that shit.
Oh yeah, I literally just dipped. Talk about any Cash Cups. Yeah.
I think we'll skip over the solo one pretty quickly. Bully one, which is actually pretty interesting. I think like generally controller players on NA like tend to dominate there. Other than that, Mars did well. Very, very Cash Cup-esque in NA East, like the exact same stuff that we've seen time and time again. Trio Cash Cup, different. Trio Cash Cup's a different business. In both EU and NA East, there's a trio who won the Trio Cash Cup that goes on to win Cash Cup Extra as well, which was, in this case, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. And we talked about them at the beginning of the episode because of FaZe Elite Cup, but this is now, I think, 4 tournaments where they've won in a row. And this is not, there's no 10th places in between. Like, this is them winning 4 tournaments in a row, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. I don't know how that's possible. That is a level of consistency that we haven't seen from pretty much anyone in a preseason ever. I mean, we talk about 4ZR Nate and them, but they've gotten second in a bunch of their different third-party tournaments that didn't mean as much. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling about this trio right now, but they are dominating. Cool. All right. Second place. Second place. You guys will like this one. Skittles, Narwhal, and Calc in the Trio Cash Cup. So pretty good.
Am
there.
I looking at the right Cash Cup?
Yeah, their names are all fricked, dude.
Are you sure isn't that Degen Agers and no, it's not. Never mind.
No, that's
I'm thinking
Calc.
of
BBG Peace Police is Calc.
No, that's Canada.
Isn't that Canada?
No, he's
BBG
BBG Peace. He's Peace something
Peace
else.
Patrol?
Peace Patrol? Nah. Canada's something else because he has Bucky on the team, anyways. Yeah. Okay. Moving to Cash Cup.
About that?
I'm
Okay,
sure.
true.
I'm sure.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure.
All right.
I'm very sure. In fact, I'll tell you what Kanata's name is in a second here. But moving on to the Cash Cup Extra against Slack, Saquon, Jack. Day, Miro, and Reverse got third, and fourth place was Commandment, Scented, and Edgy. And Please, Pandush, and Gonzo got second. I don't know if you know much about that trio, but in my mind, I think this is like them sticking together and also probably their best placement yet.
Say the trio again.
Please, Pandush, and Gonzo. Pledge. Yes.
Pledge, Pandush, and Gonzo. Yeah, that's in terms of that trio in general, it's just like I think it's a rise for Gonzo stocks, honestly. And somehow Pledge keeps staying underrated. He was I think it's the same Pledge that ended up going to that birthday party one time in the FNTASIA, but regardless,
that is him. Yes.
Yeah, it's and apparently it's also Kanata. Chad is like,
oh, am I actually a fucking idiot?
No, it's not. I just checked Cash Cup Extra for EU because he played it, and his name's Peace Police.
This guy's PBC Peace Police as well.
Oh, I
That's
thought you
Kanata,
said BBC
right?
Peace Control. Yeah, that's Kanata. Yeah, Peace Police is Kanata.
Then who the hell is Skooga 2K and Sheriff Dedge? Oh,
Sheriff Dedge is D-Gen and Skooga 2K is Skittles.
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Who the hell? Where's Cowcat then? I'm so confused, bro.
Dude, this is
the oh my god, man. This is the worst that's ever been. Oh my god.
This guy's name is Skugoski 2K.
BBG Big Head Clicker is Cow.
Skugoski 2K, BBG Peace Police, and FS Sheriff Deg, bro.
Hey, look at your region, man.
Hey,
look at your region.
All right, we're moving on. I don't want to talk about Extra anymore, bro. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Look at your region, man. What's going on in NA, man? What's happening, man?
Teams rolling like Aria 7, E13, and Zlats, and I feel like that's Zate rolling in on his like alt, and like some other people playing. Like, it's even worse, bro. And it's like, you know, we got Mazer Tifu rolling into us. I just, oh my god.
Man. NA is in the mud. That's all I'm
Baby
saying.
Boss. Oh, that's Chuki. Never mind. Like, dude, it's
I'm genuinely lost. I'm lost. I'm and I watched this fucking 2K. Tournament. I'm still lost. Like I don't know who the hell Calc is playing with now. I'm hella confused. Yeah.
Skittles, Booga, Acorn, Reverse 2K equals Skugoski 2K. I want to hurt something. This is crazy, man. My goodness.
Okay, I mean, here's my takes, I guess.
Yeah.
This Iamzo guy is nasty. By the way,
dude,
you got 11.
Iamzo's a beast, bro.
Iamzo is nasty. Nasty. There was a couple moments that I saw that I'm just like, holy shit, like these guys are nasty. TK was one of those.
Fuck too. It's like I don't know what his aim is, like what flavor of G Fuel he's on, man. But it's like it's actually, anyways, yeah. Keep going.
Anyway, yeah, you're right. No, you're right. Like he's hitting these nasty shots, gets like 7 kills, clutching by himself, gets second place, and the team is just like nothing. There's no hype. There's not like compared to everybody else. It's just like business as usual. This happens literally all the time. Yeah, he is nasty. TK is also nasty. TK was playing with Strudels and Zork. And they had a ridiculous 140 point clutch or something like that to go from like 20th place outside the money into top 10, which was nice.
This is the same TK that's kicking our ass in like solo queue Valorant?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, that's TK. That's the TE. Yeah, no, this is
I was wondering, there's no
TK.
shot this guy's like popping off in these cash cups and then just playing whatever game he wants at a high level. It's fucking nuts.
The race?
Christ.
Huh?
Okay, dude, that was lowbrow.
Nah, come on, Shia, give me that. Shia, give me that. Shia, give me that one. Give me that one.
Half of that, bro. Half of that.
Come on, give me my flowers, man.
Song's name.
Give me my flowers, man.
Oh, like that guy got boxed up. Roddy Rich.
Give me my flowers, man.
What am I hearing?
Like, come on, bro.
I am way
too
fucking old.
TK, the race.
Who?
Fucking beat. You allow me, man. Brother, man.
I'm actually after that little jig. You're actually allowed. All right.
Boyle accepted Snake after their second place. They got 8th place again. That's pretty sick. I hope that Boyle finally. I hope this trio does well because Boyle has been performing out of his mind for multiple seasons and never breaks through. Never breaks through into that top 3 place. I hope that this is it. And to me,
who do you play with in this one again?
Accept and Snake.
Dude, I'm just saying to break through, it's a lower matchup for him. He just needs Rokane, and Rokane needs Voil.
Well, no, because
he's doing dope. Because they're the dynamic duo, man.
They never
played
broke
some
through,
of the
bro.
best. I know, but it takes time, man. It takes time. I just want to see that duo back together with the third.
They never got a second in a tournament like that.
I know, but you can't stop, man. You got to keep going.
I agree, you do, but like but I'm just looking at the results. I'm looking at what they did, and this is in my mind so far. They've had higher potential than Rokane and Voil. Commandment sent an edgy. Oh, Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite. Again, time issues. They ran into time issues. They could have won the tournament, but they didn't get into the last game. And they died off of spawn in the game before that. So
are they the goats right now? Okay.
That was good. Oh my god.
Dude, they're actually low key as hell. They're just rolling into everything like up top. And so someone's like, yo, make predictions. Like, we're making predictions for I think it was Zone Wars, but like, Booga's rolling, Sprite Game Tahi. Like if I was betting on some team to roll in, that's like good fighters on.
Well, they did really well in Heat 4 last season, like dominant. And then they just like got contested. I think they got 10th or something in FNTASIA, like pretty decent for what they had, but yeah, this is different hopefully for them this season, because Tahi is somebody that I think has been way under the radar. He went up in the radar because of his wager status and like how good he was at box fighting and stuff like that, but then like never really got credit in actual comp. And I think because he had so much prowess in wagers, he was kind of had the reputation of like a guy who had no game sense, but just mechanics.
Yeah.
Also, before 11, who's FS Peace Chief? I just need to know. I need before.
FS Peace Chief.
That's not AJ? That's Agers.
Agers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say since his
if your team has a name that I can't recognize a single person on the team, I just
oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck Vice. Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is since his second retirement, how have Stretch and Saf been doing with Avery? Have they been doing well?
I don't think they qualified for this.
For Cash Cup Extra?
I don't think they did.
Surely
if they didn't qual, bro, they didn't really want to play. They didn't care if they didn't do good enough.
They did.
It is what it is.
What place did they get so I can look up?
And if they get really good, then they're the best. Let's go.
Oh yeah, they're in 71st.
Oh, 71st. Oh yeah, I see them. Yeah, I didn't see them at all. They're one of those teams that,
Were they in FaZe Elite Cup? How did they do in that?
They did well in that. FaZe Elite Cup. Where's my results from that?
I need to click links. Beep beep boop beep beep boop beep boop boop. FaZe Elite Cup, I believe they were top 8, fourth. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this is. I was gonna say because
Dude, I forgot there was the entire situation about the Cypher PK trials where it was overlapping with the Cash Cup. So a lot of teams that you would expect to make it didn't necessarily have the time to qual. I think a lot of them still did, like Commandment Sent and Edgy were playing that. And yeah, so I forgot about that whole situation. I wonder if anybody didn't qual because of that. Anyway.
Maybe some
I'm done. I'm done with Cash Cups. All my points are done. Next time, I better have somebody else to talk about this with. Otherwise, I'm gonna be. By the way, one more thing. Okay, one more thing. I enjoyed the shit. Like Dreamhack Duos was this weekend, right? I was like somewhat excited. I was like tepid. I was like, yeah, Dreamhack.
No, I was excited for Dreamhack Duos.
I was like, Dreamhack is back. I'm like slightly excited, but watching this trios extra thing, I'm like, I was way more paying attention to these results just because of potentially what it gives us form for FNCS. Whereas Dreamhack Duos, I'm like, this is literally not going to matter. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was before watching this morning, I was like, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to care about this. This is going to be whack. And I was like, wait a second, this is actually pretty cool compared to Dreamhack Duos. I was never really like hype.
True.
Just because it's trios and because there's consistency there.
I just always find that if I hype anything up from a Cash Cup before an FNCS, it always is the opposite, or like it's just weird, or people switch a team. Like it's annoying. But yeah,
I think there's cases where you can look at like a Cash Cup and like you can see a trend, but at the same time, like in isolation, it doesn't necessarily mean much.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Like people don't know necessarily how to balance that. Like
that's always how I've treated it. It's like, yeah, sure, they do well in a cash cup. That probably means they're gonna do well in open stage or something like that. That's probably good proof for that. But yeah, other than that, I don't. It's like, yeah, maybe it's relevant if they do well, but if they don't, then it's completely irrelevant, and we can't really gain anything from it. So yeah, I mean, like, I've always paid attention. I
gotta roll in,
but I haven't like tried to watch. I did watch these ones because I wanted to see how the viewing experience was, and it wasn't completely awful.
Nice, cool. But yeah, that's all we have to talk about today. It's kind of as you would put, wrapping on a, actually it's a horrible analogy. I'm not rolling in with it. It's done. It's done today. I'm off. According to 11, I'm off my game. So we're not even gonna attempt.
Hey, look, man, shoot and shoot, okay? Shoot and shoot. Don't worry, you'll be back next game. Keep shooting. Keep chucking the freeze, bro. You're gonna. Do you know what I mean?
11, I don't think you completely butchered the outro last time, so I don't think
me.
Yeah.
My outro wasn't that bad. I was getting slated for that, you know. I was getting, you know, I was getting abuse for that outro. Yeah, so I'd expect you guys to show me some support.
Hit me with some CTAs. Let's bounce. Come on.
Oh yeah. But I was gonna ask 11. What are you chucking the rest of the day? What are you up to, bro?
Why are you asking me this, brother?
I don't know. I feel like
wrap up the show, man. Wrap up the show, man.
Yo, you can watch the show. You probably watch it on YouTube, man. I don't know if Spotify is a thing anymore, but maybe it is. If it is, okay, it definitely is. I have nothing to do with it. So go watch it on Spotify, see what's up. And I hope you guys enjoyed episode 11. As they say in Greece when they're done with food, Yarvitsva. We will see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.